Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 6th episode of the Speakeasy Podcast, where we talk about movies, video games, and music. And I am your host, Kayman Hernandez, and Bill's lighting his cigar. So
yes, Bill Voigt here, everybody. Look at the cigar.
There's a second host for you here. I'll let you smoke your cigar. Today, we have some good cigars. I have the Ave Maria de Vigna again today, and also a second cigar, which is going to be the, the M82 blackened?
M81.
S84 blackened.
Oh, okay.
Shade to black.
Oh,
yeah.
Shade to black.
Shade
nice.
to black, yeah. And Bill, what do you got today?
I got the Cigar International imitation version of the Partagas Robusto, and it is pretty freaking good.
Awesome. Well, how are you doing today, Bill?
I'm doing good, man.
It's been a little bit.
It's funny that it's weather's always crap when we record our podcast.
Every time we record, it's always
supposed to be nice out, but here we are freezing our balls off.
Well, hey, to be fair, it is getting more light out there. It stopped raining, so we got that positive for us. Boy, do we have some fun stuff for this episode here.
Here we go.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and jump into the first segment, the thing that we've been talking about.
Sony.
Every episode, Sony says some new shit that we just can't get behind.
Technically, they're not saying shit. People are finding it out the hard way. I read an article. They are going to be pushing the ID in the UK starting June. And
elaborate that a little bit.
So what the ID thing is it's a total invasion of privacy. So if you are a PSN gamer and you're one of those people that says, oh, I have nothing to hide, it's not about nothing to hide. They are just trying to data mine more of your stuff, putting your information out there for people to buy and to bother you.
Basically asking you for your ID to take a picture of it.
Even if you are a good person that has nothing to hide, you should still be up in arms about this, because this is what everybody's going to do from now on. It's going to be they're trying to do it try to pass a law in California to do it with OSs like Windows, iOS, Linux, and it's a complete invasion of privacy because we are no longer customers. We are the commodity, the product.
We are the product. Yeah.
And Sony has come out and said, there's actual online documentation showing that if you do not consent to some form of ID, be a passport, a photo driver's license, or a phone number of some kind, they will lock you out of all of the services that you pay online to have, from playing online with people, talking with people, texting with people, anything that has to do with communication. The issue that we're going to run into is that they're saying all these tech companies are complying with governments with overreach. And they're trying to do this, and they're trying to say it's for the good of the children, and it's not for good of the children.
Yeah, they're just using it as an excuse, like we talked about.
It's all a way for them to monetize and sell your data to other brokers to basically continually bombard you with shit.
It's almost like they're kind of treating it like it's a fucking casino or something, like required to have your ID in order to use these features.
Well, I mean, an ID for a casino is it's a over 21. In the United States.
Well, there's also more to it because there goes into like the Liquor Association and all of these other things.
Well, they want to make sure it's your age, but I mean, at the end of the day, most of those places just look at your ID and confirm your age, and they walk away. Like a lot of the
because I do work in a casino, not to get too deep into it. We have like scanners and stuff, and the age does play a part into it. The most of the time, what they're doing, especially with like scanners and stuff nowadays, is not necessarily checking for your age. They're mostly checking to see if you're on their banned or POI list, right?
Okay. Well, that makes more sense than an online service where they say
exactly
for the children.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm using it as an example because it's kind of like treating it like a casino, right? Like, oh, this is only a 21 and over kind of thing, right? Which is kind of frustrating because not only, like you said, are they just using it for data brokers to sell that information out to other, third-party companies to use that information to use us as more advertising products, right? It's more of the aspect that, like, casinos have it for more than one reason, and the game companies are doing it just for one reason, just to make a profit off of it, right? Well, like a casino isn't going to make profit off of it.
That's the main reason, but the other reason is that if you're doing it, it's all about control.
That's it. Yeah.
They want to be able, like, if you say something messed up, they know where you live. They can send police to you.
Steam's going to fucking snipe you from even knowing that they wouldn't do that, but.
The one thing that Valve did, and I talked about this last time, is that they basically said that rather than ask you for your ID, you have to be 18 or older to have a credit card.
A credit card, right.
So that's how they can verify your age. And it's so fucking retarded because they're no longer worrying about creating a product that you pay for and you enjoy. You are the product.
Right.
And they're selling your information to make money to other people. They want to know everything you're doing.
Right.
And they don't want you to have your money for yourself. They want all your money.
I honestly just feel bad for all those people that can only they only have their PlayStations, because it's like they have to, like, what now? They have to move to just Xbox?
But if you say you had a PlayStation for like 10 years, right?
Right.
You had PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. So you paid $1,000 total for both consoles, roughly.
Yeah.
And then you have thousands of dollars in games. And then you have $1,000 or plus dollars in online services that is free on the PC. Like, yes, PCs are dramatically more expensive, but it's a one-time purchase
That you build
over years.
That you build
years.
over time too.
Yes, and and a lot of people don't necessarily need to upgrade every 10 years. Like, PCs are typically bulletproof for a while.
I mean, I've had
Forever.
the same fucking PC. It's like the only parts that are still the same are my old. Like my one hard drive and like my old SSD on there.
The other thing that Sony is also doing,
I mean, they're doing a lot.
I'm so fucking tired of Sony right now. The ID thing just fucking pisses me off. Like, it's just such an invasion of privacy. Yeah.
And I think it hurts more for you because you've been playing PlayStation.
Yeah, but I am matured now where I'm not loyal anymore. Fuck you.
Well, but I wouldn't say that you're immature for sticking with it because, I mean, in my eyes, like the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 both had, they're kind of like golden era, right? Like PlayStation 4 had a lot of good games, even knowing that you had to pay for the subscription. But that was kind of like their thing is that they had better games than Microsoft did at the time, right?
But their services don't offer, like their services don't require a payment plan. They don't offer you enough. Like
Microsoft doesn't
have
a payment plan? Well, I mean, technically they do when they introduced the Game Pass.
Well, Microsoft's a little different. But Microsoft,
they play the ball game a little different.
But Microsoft also fucked up a lot.
Yes.
They're like that character that trips down a hill and keeps tripping down the hill.
Now we're feeling like that's PlayStation at the moment.
PlayStation's actually even worse now because they are also people have found in the back end of an update that is coming out at this month of May that you have a time limit on your digitally bought games.
Fuck that.
So they're DRMing, kind of like what Microsoft did, where they required you to stay logged in. So they're forcing you to stay online. Like, I barely play my PlayStation anymore because I have my Steam Deck and I'm all in about Steam and GOG because I feel like the value's there.
Yeah.
And again, anybody listening, you don't need a fucking PC that's like $10,000 in order to fucking play all the newest games. You can play all the newest games.
You can play newest games with I think
scaled down.
I think we mentioned it on a previous episode where you can have like a 2060 or a 2080 and still play a lot of the games.
1080 is still being used.
True, yeah.
And the DRM thing really pisses me off because, like,
just for the folks that don't know too, what the 1080, those are the NVIDIA GeForce graphics cards,
series.
while AMD has their Radeon, 9 whatever series,
9, 7,
yeah,
6.
yeah. Just to give information out there.
But the PlayStation 5, they're also incorporating a DRM feature where if you don't log in every 30 days, the digital content you buy is now locked.
They're just really pushing for that control.
Well, they're turning into Xbox One. Remember, Xbox One required you to be in for your DR game.
Do you remember when you couldn't play the prior discs with the Xbox One until they added that as a feature later because everybody complained about it?
Yep. Also,
and PlayStation 4 had that natively with PlayStation 3 games.
Yep. One of the last good people that they
but I can't fucking play Dante's Inferno on my PlayStation 5 and I want to burn a building down.
Yeah, well, you could play it on the PC, I'm sure.
It's not on PC. It's only on consoles. I tried. I looked.
You could probably get a pirated version.
Yeah, I could probably, emulate it or whatever, but
it's just such an invasion of privacy, and to sit there and like lock you out, like say you're a parent and you don't play a lot of games all the time and you buy these games for $60,
you just don't have the time.
And you don't have the time, and then you go to log in and you get an error until they know it's you,
Yeah.
I mean, essentially without doing the ID check, you're going to be forced to put your fucking driver's license in or a passport or whatever just to access content you already paid for.
It kind of reminds me, like, we also mentioned this one on a previous episode too, with like Nintendo Switch's cartridges, right? Like how they're all digital, right? It's just more control.
It's all control.
And Nintendo's pushed that especially hard with the Switch too. Like all of those cartridges are literally like they don't contain the games on them. They're just digital keys.
The biggest cartridge they have is 64 gigs within the price realm of the $70 AAA game,
which you're paying fucking $70 100% of the time.
The issue is that if developers want to put a game on there that's like, say, 90 gigs, they have to pay for the extra storage cards, which cost more, and then in turn they have to charge the customer more money because they're eating that cost.
Right.
You know,
that's why your game's price hikes are so fucking high.
Well,
with like,
that's why they don't do it. That's why they just make you download over the internet.
Right.
And put it on the store that's already there. It's just ridiculous. And if you have a PlayStation, I'm not telling you to follow in my lead and give up on Sony, but you will have to give up your privacy in order to play games that
you're an adult. You can make your own decisions,
right.
But you know, we at least on this podcast want everybody to have the fight for their consumer rights in these aspects. Like Sony is encroaching on the individualistic purposes of privacy on online.
I mean, Steam has some DRM, but 99% of the time you can put your games on your Steam Deck. You can log in offline mode and continue to play your games. You just can't play, like, say, online features with it or anything.
Well, yeah, because it's dependent on the game.
Right. But the fact
it kind of reminds me of the whole, I don't know if you remember this, but like the whole net neutrality thing back, like, I want to say it was like 2018, 2017 or something like that.
Elaborate, please.
Net neutrality was a thing passed by Congress. I think it actually did come out where they were allowing websites to basically have more control over individuals online. So it was going to be controlled speech, like they would require the same things like IDs and shit.
And that's why they want to do it, though. They want to have complete control.
Exactly. Yeah. And everybody fought for it, or fought against it.
And at the end of the day, my issue is that you pay them an exorbitant amount of money and they still have complete control over the console. You know, like Sony's pushing all these games that are like online only, or
well, they were like doing the whole live service stuff.
Well,
like every game was going to be a live service.
Live service because, and nobody holds them accountable to. You paid $70. You pay them $70, and you have this product, and then all of a sudden they end the service, and then you're left with absolutely nothing. And I fucking hate that. Like that is such a shit model. Like they should, like in my opinion, if you're playing Destiny 2 and they end the service of Destiny and go on to like Marathon, and they should have to refund you half the money you paid for it.
That would be a lot.
I don't give a shit.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
They're taking away
you're right.
your ability.
I'm just saying like that would be a lot because that game has fucking 8 expansions, and they're all of the expansions. What people paid for them were like fucking $40 per purchase. I'm just saying
that if you dip into their paycheck, the revenue stream,
where their money,
yeah. And the reason why they're pushing so hard for all this stuff is because the PlayStation is their only viable technology.
Well, they're doing that because
dude, 60% of their revenue comes from PlayStation.
Right.
It was never like that when PlayStation 1 came out, PlayStation 2. It was part of their revenue stream, but they sold televisions, and I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And now they basically whittle themselves down to one product that sells, and rather than do the Valve way.
I mean, they're kind of doing the same thing that Nintendo is, like having the control on all of their shit.
Well,
Nintendo's
on their
only
platform. Ever had one thing.
Yeah.
And Nintendo just is like an old person that doesn't know what to do with the changing of the seasons. Sony makes a lot of money, and they'll tell you they don't, and they're full of shit. They make a lot of money selling to the PC. And I heard also that they're saying that they're pulling out of the single player Epic game market on PC, specifically Steam, because they want to have, they're saying they want to have more exclusivity, and that just means more money. But the problem is that that's a complete fallacy, because if you got people that don't have a PlayStation, because first of all, people back when the PlayStation came out, it was hard to get, right? And then now they're selling it. They have over 90 million PlayStations are out right now. PlayStation 5s.
I mean,
there's people that are playing these games on the PC, and Sony doesn't do things like, well, the game's been out for 2 years and the excitement's over, so let's sell it for $40. Well, no, they're selling it for $70.
Yeah, you would pay them $70, and then this gets it into like the whale discussion where like we talked about this previously, where they have the price differential where like people, when they spend more money, they're just going to increase the prices of the product that you're going to pay on the PlayStation platform. So they're just going to make these guys, squeeze them down to a little circle that are just going to keep spending, shit tons of money because they want, they want to support their company or whatever, right?
They want to fatten their pockets, and the whales that have the money shouldn't even condone that kind of crap.
I think the thing that makes me kind of frustrated is like I can't even understand why they would even push it to be like that's subsidized, right? Instead of having it be in like an open market where like they have it on PCs and they have it on Xboxes.
It breaks down
because they would just make more money instead of having to.
It breaks down to control, dude.
I know it's about the control, but it's just something that frustrates me for sure.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on to another thing.
Yeah, the happier topic.
Steam.
Steam
our
controller is finally releasing on May 4th at 10 o'clock. Kayman, you going to buy one?
I'll buy one. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a Steam product, They, whatever it is, they're going to come out with a product that's going to be consumer friendly.
It's going to have more benefits than negatives.
I mean, the controller itself, which I know will be great, it also has a feature that I loved about the PlayStation controller, where like with multiple PlayStations, you bring your controller and you connect it to your buddies. It has your account on that controller that you can set up. Steam's going to have the same thing, and so I can literally bring my Steam controller, set up my Steam account with it, and then just log on. We'll be on a Steam Deck or whatever, or hopefully in the future a Steam machine, and then bam, I'm playing on my Steam account, and we're playing couch co-op games like. Right, it was back in the day. I heard we talked about it a little bit before we started the podcast, where you were mentioning how some reviewers of the product were saying that it's made out of cheap quality.
Well, they didn't say it was made out of cheap material. They said it just felt cheap, like an Xbox controller, like it's the harder plastic and not the soft touch like on the PlayStation 5.
Right.
But my argument to that is, as much as I love the PlayStation 5 controller and how comfortable it is, they're not going to age well. They're going to get brittle. They're going to the silicone's going to start to peel.
The more that you use it, because
yeah.
I mean, if you don't use it too much and it's like still in the box, it'll probably.
Well, that's anything
be all right.
though. But you don't spend $85 on a controller.
Right.
In a box.
I mean, I have 3 of each Xbox and PlayStation controllers, and I've used Xbox controllers for the longest time. And I remember when they upped the price of those, I stopped and I was like, okay, well, let's take a look at this, because PlayStation DualShock 5 or whatever was compatible with Bluetooth on PC. And I was like, okay, well, let's take a look at this. They're both $80, but one has the higher quality to it. So I was like, it's a fucking easy deal. I'll just spend the $80 on a PlayStation.
You're just sacrificing battery life, because the Xbox controller does last a very long time.
Yes, it can. Well, I mean, because it runs off of fucking AA batteries.
Well, I think even the rechargeable batteries last like 40 hours.
I don't think I have any of the rechargeable batteries, honestly.
I used to have them on my Xboxes, and I used to use the rechargeable batteries all the time. But the Steam Deck will have a rechargeable battery.
Great.
Or Steam controller, I'm sorry. And it will have, they claim 35 to 40 hours.
That's a long time.
I have not held one in my hands.
We haven't, no.
But from the viewer standpoint, they say the controller triggers aren't as haptic feedback capable as like a PlayStation controller.
Well, I feel like that's patented. I don't think that they can do that.
You don't get the haptic feedback even when using a PlayStation controller on PC unless the game itself supports it and it's plugged in. It can't be wireless.
Right.
And so that's also locked down to like a software. The main issue is that it's not an issue. I would say even if the controller feels slightly less premium than a PlayStation 5 controller, I mean, they are going to sell it for $100, but Valve's controllers will last you a lot longer than a PlayStation 5 controller.
Well, I mean, you have your old Steam Deck controller, or your old Steam controller, the first iteration.
I tried so hard to use
it. It's just those touchpads, man. They're just not as accurate as a
the way that they
thumbstick.
implemented the Steam Deck and then now into the new Steam controller with the trackpads.
Doubles, yeah, trackpads and
being
the
on the
thumbsticks.
trackpad as an option, and it's great for navigating like PC menus and stuff like that, and it's still having the controller readily available.
I have to do so. I have Oblivion on my Steam Deck, and I have to use that for like the menu control, because doing it with the thumbstick is just so awkward. And I booted it up, and like, man, that game is so awesome to just relive for a little bit. But I remember that exclusively being like, oh, I have to fucking mimic a mouse. It's literally the scene from Invincible where Omni-Man is like yelling at Mark. He's like, look what they have to do to mimic a fraction of our power.
Yeah. But the Steam controller is a good sign that the Steam machine is right around the corner.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, to be fair, that thing is literally going to just shatter all of the fucking console market once it comes out. I do believe that.
I don't even need one. Like, I want to sell my Sony PS5.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this before. And I want to put a Steam machine in my office.
Instead of the PlayStation.
Yeah. And the best part is that I don't technically even need a Steam machine because I have my PC.
Yeah.
But I'm going to buy one because I want a console in the house because because Steam and GOG are so vast with their game library.
And you already know you'll be able to install GOG and like Epic Games and all of those other things because it's the same thing as the Steam Deck, but just a console format.
Right. And what makes that so enticing is that there are games when friends come over that you can jam out like on a PlayStation.
Play fucking Gauntlet.
Or play Gears of War split screen.
Yeah, classic style.
Yeah, classic style. And
if that game even comes out with split screen, because we know how Microsoft's been lately with their developers not doing split screen. I'm looking at you, Halo Infinite, motherfucker.
No shit.
Any Steam product, and we've mentioned this before, will be for the consumers. And it's going to be something that will have the accessibility, the comfort,
and the freedom.
Because people are going to fucking mod the hell out of that thing. Like, people have already modded their own fucking Steam Decks,
Yeah.
They're going to make it so accessible and easy to do that. And we also, you mentioned too, that, or I think it was earlier, where their parts are already on
they're going to be available for iFixit.
iFixit, there you go. Thank you.
I don't know if they're on the website, but like the Steam Deck, it's going to be one of those
iFixit certified,
repairable,
which is going to be
certified.
so good.
And that'll be the extra $15 that you're spending on the controller, comparatively speaking to like Sony and Xbox, is that right there is a better peace of mind, knowing that you can go to a place and get a joystick replaced or a touchpad replaced, or a battery replaced.
I mean, even if those joysticks will fucking get like stick drift or anything like that, that's the thing.
That's the whole point.
You're just not going to even need to.
So
let's go on to the second part with the Steam, where they just announced, or at least they said, that the Steam Deck 2...
So they didn't announce anything. What they did was that the people that were talking about the Steam controller asked them about the Steam Deck, and they said everything is on track. And they gave a rough date of 2028.
For like an announcement or something?
Either announcement or a release date. I'm going to say announcement, not to put words in my mouth.
Yeah. Because, we don't want to
The thing about the Steam Deck is that Gabe Newell said that they don't want to release incremental updates like a new screen or just a few new features. They want to be a substantial upgrade compared to the original. Like, obviously...
so do you think it would be increased price, but like the same thing as like the ROG Access Ally, where it's like a powerhouse console?
If I had to give my educated guess, I think Steam will be undercutting people.
Really?
I think it'll be $200 or $300
just because they see the market and they're just like, you know what, gamers, we love you. Here's a gift. Yes.
And if per se the Steam Deck 2 is like, say, 3 times more powerful, roughly, like, or 2 times, they'll undercut and keep it $600-$700. Okay. Or $800 maybe for like the OLED, 1
Yeah, because the
terabyte.
OLEDs are usually going to be expensive because the parts for that.
I don't think they're going to go anything. It's going to be all OLED for the second release. And I think the only reason they had LCD is because they couldn't get their hands on OLED right away. And I think anybody that knows Valve, I bet you they originally envisioned an OLED all the time.
Probably, yeah. And I think that's also kind of because when the Steam Deck 1 came out first, it all of these handheld consoles didn't have OLED screens, but then now they've all kind of pushed towards just doing OLEDs. I don't even think they'll have a LED screen. I think all of them are going to be OLED just because of the quality.
Well, OLED's better quality in a lot of ways compared to LCD, and it's also better on battery life.
Yeah.
And with the way that the thing about battery life that I want people to focus on is don't focus on, okay, it's 3 times more powerful, so it should have 3 times the battery life. It should be 3 times more powerful and a lot more fidelity, a lot more power, and it should get around the same battery life as the original Steam Deck.
Even then, I think people mostly play their Steam Decks plugged in. I
like to play my Steam Deck mainly unplugged, just because I don't like to have it. charging while I'm playing. I think it can damage the battery in a lot of ways. And some people probably have to do it because their batteries are older.
Yeah, my battery is like either damaged or just old, and it requires me to actually have it plugged in the whole time.
And I can't speak for everybody, but I would think that most people would like to play it handheld without a cord because that's the whole point of a handheld.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, like if you're sitting in your bedroom or whatever, and you're relaxing, and you at the end of the night or whatever, it's probably not a bad thing to have it plugged in.
That's how it's every handheld I've ever played with was the same way, like DS, 3DS, all of that shit.
I just have my charger next to my nightstand, so I just play it till it gets low, and then I just plug it, and then I just put it away for the night, and I'm done.
I mean, that's probably why a lot of my batteries die, is because I refuse to unplug it half the time, or I'll turn on like the safety settings.
Wouldn't surprise me.
It's possible. It's definitely possible.
Well, anyways, like
Steam Deck 2. We're hype. We're excited. It's a new Steam product.
I'm excited. I mean, I would hope that they, there was a while where we weren't sure if we were getting a second one because Valve does take a long time in order to.
I don't know if I want. I honestly don't know if I want a second one because I feel like the Steam Deck 1 is still so prominent.
We say that now until
they come out with it, and then we're like, oh my fucking god, yeah. I mean, for sure.
That's how it always gets, and I think we'll wait and see.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and move on to this next, not segment, but next little topic here. You've been playing Dead Space for a long time, and
it's my favorite series of all time.
This isn't the Dead Space episode, but you wanted to talk about specifically the Dead Space remake from 2023.
Yeah, it's underrated.
How so?
Well, it came out and it kind of fizzled. It didn't do very well in sales, and it is a better version than the original in a lot of ways. And a lot of remakes are hard to do that way, especially when they have EA tagged on the side of the package.
I mean, that's the big scare right there.
But, dude, that game is so underrated, and it's just such a good game. I mean, it's...
The foundation that it has is just absolutely perfect with all of the different additions that they added to it, like the director being a part of it, like in Left 4 Dead, where it changes different segments or whatever, or adds, like we talked about it before, where it would do the blackout segments and stuff.
Dude, there was actually an instant where I had left some ammo on a shelf because I didn't have space in my inventory, and I ran all the way back
and picked it up
and put stuff away to get it, and came back, and there were necromorphs coming out of the vents.
Yep.
And they never did that in the original. What was dead, what was dead.
Well, yeah, because it has, like I mentioned, the director, it makes it so that it's dynamic in that aspect to where, like, going back and revisiting those areas isn't going to be the same as it
which
was
is
at the
cool.
beginning. It is. No, it is. I
also like how Isaac talks a lot.
So, yeah, I mean, in my opinion, because it's the same thing that I have with Resident Evil 4, with both the remake and the original, right? Like, when Dead Space was announced to have a remake coming out, I didn't really feel like Dead Space needs a remake. And I still kind of don't, but I appreciate the level of craft and quality that they did with the remake because it's a fantastic game.
Well,
I think both of them are equally, 10 out of 10s, right? Not as much as, like, I don't know. I don't want to, like, change an opinion or whatever because everybody has their own favorites, right? Some people like the remake better. Some people like the original better.
I've replayed the original Dead Space once a year.
A lot of times, yeah.
Once a year. And I think before I put it down and went on to something different back when it came out in 2008, I think I beat it 9 times. Mm-hmm. I even beat it on PS3 when I did the impossible mode. Mm-hmm. On Dead Space 2023, I do like, some people didn't like it, but I like that he talks because he is an engineer. And he should have had input when they were asking questions. Like in the first one, they were just giving you directive.
Yeah.
And he just kind of did his thing. You went and did them.
Yeah. To be fair, the best part in the voice acting was just Gunnar Wright. He was the best part of the remake. I don't know. Other than Hammond, I think Hammond's actor did a good job. I really just don't like the way that what's her name?
Daniels.
Yeah, I think Daniels' actor.
Come on, you just don't like her because she's a trash character.
No, it's her voice delivery. Like there's something in it that just doesn't feel right.
What it feels like to me is you could tell that she is a ambitious, up and coming employee, and she sounds like somebody that's never been out in the field before, and that's what I like about her.
I didn't get that. I immediately and this could be just because I know it. It immediately came off as just like this person's going to betray me later. You know what I mean? Like the original.
I think theoretically you knew that in the first Dead Space you didn't.
Right.
And so, but I think the acting ability in that for her...
I would want to see a new person that hasn't played Dead Space 1 see if they pick on that same thing, because that would really... Because we do have a bias on that aspect for sure, but I feel like the line delivery for her in certain cases really just made it so obvious, like, oh, this person's going to betray me later.
Well, I didn't get that.
Because, I mean, like, in the original, she acted a little more real.
Even I know that she's going to backstab you in the end. There are parts where I could see that she's trying to create a mistrust between you and Hammond.
Yeah.
She's creating shit. And Hammond's like, I don't know anything about that.
I didn't like that because it didn't...
And she's like...
It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
Because he's literally just like crying about losing his people, and then Daniels is like, "Oh yeah, Hammond, you want me dead, right? You don't want me. You're trying to hide the secrets for the corpos."
Anybody that is trying to get something of interest,
for sure,
will create.
But it was played way better in the original.
I don't know.
In my opinion, I mean, we can have different opinions. You know,
I think it's the same. I think it's the same.
Do you?
But I think it's an underrated game, and it's too bad it didn't sell well enough to.
I mean, I bought the collector's edition.
Create a sequel.
I wear that helmet every other week.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
But I just think that if you haven't played it and you like scary games, I think it's probably the pinnacle.
I think Dead Space as a whole, both 2, 1, even 3 in certain cases, the remake, they're just the master class in video game horror.
Yep.
You know, like we've played indie horror games, we've played other horror games, and they're every time when we're playing like a new sci-fi horror game, like even with GTFO, we were like, oh, this is tiny bit like Dead Space 2, you know, it goes back to that, right? Like it's the original horror game.
It was the only horror game in space that brought out the Thing vibes accurately.
Absolutely.
And Alien. Because
I still really want John Carpenter to do a fucking Dead Space movie. Please do a Dead Space movie with practical. And he said he would do it with practical effects, and it would go so crazy. For sure. Yep.
It would be pretty awesome. So, Kayman, there was a couple trailers today that I wanted you to watch. You watched before the show. And I want to know your thoughts.
Specifically, which one first?
Alien Isolation 2.
I want an Alien Isolation 2. Alien Isolation is one of the best horror games ever made.
I've never played it.
Dude, the alien in that game still baffles people's brains half the time. Like, I don't know what black magic they did in that game, but like, holy fuck. There are times where it will just fuck with you. And it just does it on purpose. So what I know from the background of it, it has the same system. There's a lot of these games that have like either multiple enemies or one enemy, where they have a director, right? It's not a new thing, because Left 4 Dead did it way before, and then I think even before that there was maybe another game or something. But it was more popularized with Left 4 Dead, where they had the director, where it would, you know, scale things dependent on how the players are going. If they're blowing through levels too much, they'll start introducing more special infected. Or if they're having a hard time, it'll peel back on the hordes and the waves and the special infected, and give the players enough time to breathe depending on the difficulty. And it scales, you know, whatever difficulty you have. And Alien Isolation has a director which tells the alien your location at all times, but it doesn't tell you your exact location. It just tells you a room where you're at. And then it also tells you like how much noise you're creating, right? Then it goes to the alien AI, where the alien AI can hear you, it can see you, and it can't smell you, but it can hear you and see you, right? So you'll be scrounging around in one room, and then the alien will start to rush in, and perfectly well-designed, executed fucking soundscape. Everything is perfect, and it's the most stressful situations you can be ever put in a horror game. Not only because you're fighting a fucking xenomorph, but it's unkillable. And if they made it killable, it would ruin it completely. Okay. Completely.
Well, I think it was Alien Isolation is obviously a complete homage to the original film.
100%.
Because they couldn't kill it in that either, because they weren't equipped to kill it.
Well, I mean, they also used the sounds from the original film in the game. Like, every sound, every TV, every button, everything is literally taken from the original film soundscape.
So after I watched the trailer, because it was kind of
it's
teaser,
just an announcement trailer.
It's an announcement trailer, but the one thing that I didn't like is they announced they're using Unreal 5 engine, and I am tired of that fucking engine. It is not optimized. It has so many freaking problems.
It's not that it's not optimized. It's that the developers are lazy.
No, they say that it's not optimized. They say it's got general problems that developers, even though it's got a lot of easy stuff for them to work on, creates a lot of problems.
I just know that it's
you
lazy.
see a lot of artifacting, a lot of frame rate drops and spikes
because they rely on DLSS and frame generation. Yes, but I mean that's also a lot of games lately. I mean, granted, we talk about like Capcom and the RE engine, right?
But what are all the games using right now? They're using
mostly
Unreal,
for sure.
So it's kind of like with The Witcher 4 that could come out. I mean that could take you right out of it.
Well, here's the thing though. I can't remember what game it was, but there was a game that released recently with we were completely forgetting one. Species Unknown is Unreal Engine 5.
Yep.
It runs well. It looks really beautiful, and it also plays very smoothly.
It's also a lot more contained.
Yes, exactly.
Like
that's why I argue that it's the development team.
One thing I've noticed about Unreal Engine that I do not like, and you see it in a lot of games, and I'm gonna say the game that I play all the time, Witchfire, is that you'll see like trees moving in the background, or you'll see water flowing, and you'll see like this pixelated
to mimic
ghosting in it, where you look up and it looks like a bunch of little dots. The trees look like they're like made of salt, and they're going back and forth,
right,
and they go in and out, and it's just one of those things where I think it just sucks, and it's in a lot of games.
So is it the same development team? Yes. Okay, so I don't know why they think that they have to use Unreal Engine 5, because their last engine for Alien Isolation, that game still looks...
Oh, it looks awesome. It
looks fantastic today.
Yep.
I played it recently, and it beats fucking any lighting source Unreal Engine game that you can play now. Like the fucking lights in that game.
I really think that it's a cost-cutting measure when it comes to I know they already had the...
I feel like I heard that Unreal takes a really big check, especially
Well, they do. They take 30%. But what I'm saying is that compared to the time people
spend to develop like a new engine or whatever. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And so moving forward, I showed you another trailer by the original creators of Alien vs. Predator, Rebellion. And we were talking about how the 2011 Alien vs. Predator didn't get a lot of good reviews, and we both really loved it.
I loved it because... I love the human spot. That was the best campaign. I think the Alien
Predator
campaign,
one was really good too.
The Predator one was fun. Like it does the same thing with like how we talk about in like RE9 where you get the horror segments and then you get the Leon segments. That's like the stress
the Predator's definitely the one where you have the more power.
Favorite campaign is the human side because it's absolutely
the scariest.
Cool. It's so cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, even it being fucking terrifying, like the club scene still gives me nightmares.
Because the loud.
Yeah, you walk in and you're seeing all the fucking alien shit, and then it just goes boof, and you're hearing the fucking music, and then you're like, I am gonna die here.
They do that a lot in Dead Space too.
Yes. I mean, it's in a ton of games.
But the game is it's called Alien Deathstorm, and at first I thought it was they're making another Alien game,
because Alien.
Yeah, and because they've done both Alien vs. Predator games on the PC. And it's not. It's very similar, but you're dealing with an actual different alien.
With that trailer, you can really see the old school game design with the first person shoot. Because I mean, it literally is almost like the exact same with like the pistol handhold.
It looks almost exactly the same.
And I don't want to say I'm like skeptical because I'm not. I feel like they would definitely do a good job. I'm just a little like reserved on it because I feel like it looks a little placeholdery. To me at least. I feel like, especially today, we've been ruined by all of these high-quality animations and stuff that it might just be my brain is so used to that I need time to adjust to it. But it looks cool. It looks cool.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for any new horror game.
I too am on the conservative side of it when it comes to I want to hold down my emotions and not be so excited.
Not get overhyped or anything.
But I think that it's got a lot of potential. That developer has never really done me wrong when it comes to their games. Because I wasn't expecting anything more than Alien vs. Predator when that 2011 came out, and people just dogged on it. And
it was a good game.
And it was a really good
multiplayer. Why. The fucking multiplayer. Who cares about Colonial Marines' multiplayer? Even knowing that game sucked. Everybody did like the multiplayer, but fucking Alien vs. Predator's multiplayer, I didn't get to play it that much, but it was fucking awesome.
Fun. It was fun.
So awesome. Literally 3 teams of players playing Aliens, Marines, and Predators.
Yeah.
And all of them are doing
it would be kind of cool because they're allowed to do their own kind of alien. if the multiplayer has different versions or different kinds of
Do you think
aliens.
that they would do that for this one?
I hope so. I mean, I think it would make the multiplayer more compelling, where you have, like, say, human characters that have different attributes.
Yeah.
And then you have different versions of the aliens. Like, you saw in the trailer there was that scene where he's shooting the machine gun or the shotgun. I can't remember what it was. And
it was
all
a
those
shotgun.
all those little aliens are coming out. They're crawling up and flying around. It's
Yeah.
what if you could pick a class of alien? They can make those, and they can distract people. You can make the multiplayer really engaging.
I mean, do you think... I kind of have faith that they would probably do that with, like, how old school they are, and it seems like this is going back to that era of, like, Xbox and PlayStation 3
as long
shooters.
as it plays like Alien vs. Predator, but with a newer feel.
I just feel like they might only do a campaign. I don't think that they would do a multiplayer. If they do a multiplayer, I'll be hella surprised, and I'll be like, well, worth your fucking extra
as
money.
far as I'm concerned, if they come
too.
out with a day one solid campaign single player, and maybe even a co-op added into the campaign, and then they announce they're doing multiplayer later and really flush it out, I'd be okay at that too. But they're also one of those older developers that could be having everything is all in on one, and as long as they don't go down the money grab where they're like, oh, microtransactions, blah blah, and they make a game where,
well, I don't even think the 2011 game had that.
There wasn't there wasn't a lot of that back then. It was just starting out in some of the live service games back in those times.
I guess that's a fair point too. But I mean, at the same time, they're also that old school company, so they we have a little bit of a trust with that.
Whoever's publishing it, if they're not self-publishing it, could force that. And what I'd hope to see is a solid 7 or 8 score. Something that's fun to play.
Good campaign. Just a good campaign.
And then if they're going to add multiplayer and more DLC for the game, to add it in a way that
isn't atrocious.
Where the game is so good, you want to put the money down on extra stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, and if it's good, people want to buy it. I mean, we've talked about that before with, like, word of mouth games and stuff.
Yeah.
If it's good, people are going to buy it.
I guess what I'm getting at is I'm excited because I like Rebellion. I like their games, and it's been a minute since they've come up with something.
For sure.
And I hope it's good. I mean, the worst case scenario, let's be real, is going to be it's a lot like Alien vs. Predator. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
But it's been years since I've seen their name on something.
It's true. So
I'm hoping for a little more. Like, it'd be cool, like you said. Like, what if it has?
Do we know how long they've been working on this?
Do not know, my friend. It was announced, and I'm just excited.
I will probably get more information as it comes closer or comes out more. But I mean, it looks cool from the announcement trailer. I like the fact that it's like on like a Mars kind of planet, and everything's all like dilapidated and like crashed ships and shit.
Yeah,
they had that scene where the building in the background's all like
getting hit with the wind, and
it looks really cool.
Just hope they deliver.
Yeah. I think
I'll wait for the next couple trailers and see if they add more to it. And, last episode, you had asked me some questions about Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
We've had announcements. Well, not announcements, but we had rumors for the longest time.
But I'd like to say that I didn't watch the trailer when you had asked me about it. And I'd watched the trailer now. And you know more about the game than I do. But I'm going to say this. Just seeing the graphic
improvement,
it looks really good.
Yes.
And I hope so. Like, we were talking earlier before the podcast, and you said they're going to make it a lot more like the original Assassin's Creed, where more controlled. The fighting is a lot more less fancy with like activated moves and actual more real time moves.
Yeah, and more engaging combat than the first.
And I think that's really exciting. Now, some people are saying that they're taking away key things that made the game fun, and I don't know what that is because I only saw the announcement trailer.
So. I was going on a minute ago. We've only ever gotten rumors that they were going to do it, and everybody said the same thing as like Final Fantasy VII, right? Like Square Enix was going in the gutter, and everybody was like, they're just going to remake 7, and then that's going to fucking make a buttload of money, right? It was the same thing with Black Flag for Assassin's Creed. Like, this is the moment that they need to fucking clutch it up, right? And I've played Black Flag, the original, and what's good about Black Flag is the feeling that you get when you're doing pirate shit, but then you're added on to, parkour and doing these assassinations and stuff. What I remember me doing the most was always, swinging onto the other person's ship and then getting into the combat. Now, the combat back at that point was you just mash X, press A or Y to do a parry or a dodge every once in a while.
Which, to be fair, that's how Assassin's Creed 1 was.
Correct, right. What they're doing with this one is, the number one big thing is they're not making it an RPG. It's not going to be
God.
Valhalla or Mirage or Shadows-esque. It's or
Origin or Odyssey.
Yeah, it's exclusively. They want to make it as faithful to the original game as possible.
Like Mirage was.
They have the original game director from them, and all he's doing is basically just like overseeing it with the actual game director who worked on Black Flag when it first came out as like a producer or whatever. They have the original writer for the game coming back and writing 6 hours more content with new dialogue. They got all of the voice actors to come back. Everything is the exact same with more, and also revamped stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna say my final piece on this because I've only seen the announcement trailer. I'm gonna reserve the same excitement that I have for the Rebellion game, as in I hope Ubisoft does what they say they do. I hope they stay away from tons of microtransactions. I really hope they can throttle down on that. I would rather them release DLC for like $25.
We know that the multiplayer got cut, which is a good thing because nobody played the multiplayer.
Nobody plays multiplayer.
I played Assassin's Creed Unity, and I like that game.
Well, Assassin's Creed is one of those only games, in my opinion, where the only multiplayer you should really have in that game is 4-player assassins playing the story.
Just 4-player co-op.
Yeah. And make the battlefield or the world accommodate single player or multiplayer features where you have more battles and you really and you can coordinate.
Sure that's what Brotherhood and Unity did. Much.
And I think that's a great concept. Like,
well, who doesn't want to fucking parkour around buildings with their friends?
I mean, I'll be honest, man.
Imagine if they made a Mirror's Edge co-op game.
Yeah.
Would you play the fuck out of that?
I like the original.
So yeah,
I really think that Ubisoft, like, they were one of my favorite devs back in the day.
They were killing
and
it.
When they got more and more greedy with the microtransactions, and then they launched their own digital store, and they kind of locked down. Assassin's Creed series to me has always been really cool, and I don't mind the RPG. Like, I'm an original day one Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And that game, when it came out, reviewers were saying, "Oh, it doesn't have enough story." It was very the missions were pretty much all the same, like all the different scopes of missions, like
they were repetitive.
Eavesdrops. Let's get more information, kill that person, blah blah blah. And I was okay with that. Like, it was a new kind of game. I'd never played something like that. The last game that I played that was stealth like that was on PlayStation 1. It was Tenchu.
Or Metal Gear Solid.
Well, even Metal Gear Solid wasn't as much.
Stealthy
as like Tenchu.
Yeah. One has more control over the stealth elements for the player than the other, I think.
Yeah, and so for me, I'm excited, and I think it would be cool if the multiplayer was like, say, 3-player co-op, and you could all be different assassins in the game. You can make your own characters that are they don't even have to go crazy with like the storyline. They could just treat you like you're the main character in a single player as the main.
Or I mean, they could just have like a lot of games that they've done like that, where like the main person that you're invited to the party is just the main character, and then you see them on the cutscenes or whatever, which would be I can't remember the character's name, but Mr. Pirate guy. You mentioned the stealth stuff. So with this one, that was kind of a big problem with the original, whereas the following missions and the trailing missions and shit, you would just instantly get caught from stupid mechanics, and they acknowledged it and said, yeah, it annoyed us too. They changed it. So in the trailing missions, if you get caught, it doesn't end it. You have to fight them or run away or change your play style and adapt to the environment.
To be fair, in Assassin's Creed 1, there was a certain point where you could fight everybody, but you had to trail long enough to get to the point where if you make a mistake and don't assassinate him right away, you do get jumped by, like, say, 3 or 4 guards and whatever. But you're right. When you
everything in that worldwide view that
trailer,
it was. I don't want to get too hopeful because I'm afraid.
I'm hopeful. I'm going to be hopeful. I'm not going to be negative about it because
I don't want to be negative about it because it looks really good.
I would say that what we should do is we should just tell everybody, be excited if you're an Assassin's Creed fan.
Everybody is.
And let's be hopeful and hope that it's a great game. And if
because we want Ubisoft to come back.
And if they trip and fall and they land on their face again, I mean, I was hoping the rake they stepped on, like in an old cartoon, on Shadows was hard enough to knock sense into those guys. Because I really thought that Valhalla was the best RPG one. And I think that the Ezio series, 2, and then the Brotherhood, and there was one more, I think those were the highest point of the Assassin's Creed. And then 3, the character just wasn't as engaging. He was a cool character, but he wasn't as, like, likable as Ezio was, and then like I said, then they got kind of away from that, and so I do appreciate the RPG games, but they're like a massively multiplayer game as a single player, and they take hours and hours and hours. So I'm hopeful, and that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it because I like Black Flag, and I've heard a lot of people being like, "Oh, Black Flag doesn't need a remake," and the thing is, graphics-wise, Black Flag still looks really good, and I've only ever noticed it looks the exact same, just higher fidelity.
I think that the reason why they chose Black Flag is because that was when they dropped off and they made those RPG versions, and I think that.
Well, I mentioned it too because that was like the first one that had really open segments for it.
Right. I think that if Ubisoft, if this sells well, they'll probably
adjust course
and write another Assassin's Creed that's more story based and more stealth based. Because the idea is it's not called Run and Gun Creed; it's called Assassin's Creed.
Right.
And you always play a character, and that's what was really cool about Assassin's Creed was it was the Assassins. Brotherhood of Assassins in different times, affecting our futures.
Right.
And that's really the cool thing about it is that's a cool storyline. But they stepped away from the Templar and the Assassins big time in the RPG versions, and you got away from the whole point of why it was compelling.
Yeah.
Was that you felt like you were playing another character
in history
that's being recruited in this assassin because they can see what kind of person you are. You're a good person. You might be a pirate, but you're still a great person.
Right.
And they need you to help keep the freedom of people of their free thought opposed to the weaponizing the Eden.
Right.
And they stepped away from that in the other Assassin's Creeds.
I'm excited for it. I'm very hopeful that they'll come through and they'll push it and make it good. I do worry that it'll come out and have some bugs, but it's an Ubisoft game. They do that sometimes.
Okay.
But I'm hopeful that it won't, and I'm really excited. I'm glad that they've gotten, they did the one thing that I wanted them to do. So we'll go ahead and move on to something else here. We've talked about this a little bit over this episode, and I wanted to bring it up because we talked about it last episode previously. Nostalgia in video games.
Okay.
Now, I'm mostly talking about just as a whole because I mentioned before that I've been playing Shadow of the Colossus again, and it's making me want to go back and
I'm
play.
playing Dead Space, so
yeah, exactly. It's making me want to go back and play a lot of my really favorite games from my childhood. Which, granted, a lot of those are Nintendo games because I played a lot of Metroid and like Mario and stuff. But I mean, in general, like just I want to go back and put up my Steam Deck and play fucking Mini Ninjas like I did back in the day. Like that was a game I bought on the Wii, and I played it all the way through, and I loved that game. What are the most nostalgic games for you, Bill, that you other than Dead Space that you come back to and reminisce about or come back to and play over
well,
and
in
over?
the PlayStation era, it was definitely Twisted Metal. I absolutely loved car combat games, and they're like an arena shooter is what they are with cars. And I absolutely I put so many hours into Twisted Metal 2. So many hours because you could play co-op on it. And my buddy and I would play co-op all the time, and it was just like a nostalgia and it's funny because it's been 20 years, and I could go back and go, yeah, if I press on the D-pad up, left, the car will jump, and if I press up, right, it'll put the shield on. And if I go left, right, down, it shoots the weapon behind me. If I go right, left, down, it shoots a freeze ball. It's like it's ingrained in my memory, and they don't make games that retain like that. Because Twisted Metal didn't have DLC. It didn't have add-ons. I didn't need microtransactions. Like you just played it, you got what you got, and it was just awesome the way it was.
Yeah.
And honestly, nostalgia for us nowadays and the newer kids is going to be the indie games that we always talk about, we praise.
I think so.
Because a lot of those indie games are giving you one game, and that's what it is.
It's going to be so weird when I'm like 50 and I'm thinking about like Ultra Kill or like Bolt Gun,
Bro, that's only like 4 years from me.
Well, I'm not as old as you.
I know. But games like the original Doom that bring back nostalgia, and we talk about Doom all the time. We talk about like Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah.
Command and Conquer. The original Diablo. You could still go back and play the first Diablo. That maybe not now because they probably lock it behind their digital wall. But if you had the original, I don't know how many times I restarted
Diablo 2 is my nostalgia game. Like that game fucking every time I play
it
I always go back to being fucking 6 years old, watching Dad boot it up with the music and the characters, like that intro character selection screen when you click on them and they get up and they do their like little animation.
Did the barbarian.
Every time makes me so nostalgic.
The first time I got the barbarian leap, and he goes like, and he jumps into it. And I used to love getting online with friends, and they'd be like necromancers and all the fragile characters, and they'd be swarmed, and I'd go, and I jump right in the middle of the battle, and it would explode, knock enemies down. And I just felt like superpower.
I want to play that game with either friends or family and just play through the whole thing. You know,
I'm down. I love Diablo 2.
Diablo 2 is that game, and you know, so like you mentioned how like you play those games that bring you back to, you know, just having fun, right? And for me, it comes down to like an emotional thing. Yeah. Like Shadow of the Colossus, I keep talking about it, but it's a fantastic game, and it emotionally affected me, and it still does even to this day. And I go back to really relive those emotions. It's the same thing with music. That's why a lot of the music I listen to is because I have a really strong emotional connection to it, and every time it brings me back to that moment, you know. But I mean, like you mentioned Doom. Like I played only Brutal Doom, which was just a modern, you know, graphical enhanced version of Doom with, you know, all of these different weapons, all of these different types of, you know.
When Doom came out, dude, I didn't even have PC, and I've said this before. And I had friends that had PCs, and it was so next level, you know. And that was like, there's always a game or two in a generation of games where they set the bar of what the whole industry is going to do.
Yeah.
And Doom was one of them. Wolfenstein was the first one to do it.
For sure.
You know, and then you expect, every game to live up to those standards. Like I used to be a huge fan of Duke Nukem 3D. And I remember playing...
Forever?
No. Duke Nukem 3D came out on PlayStation 1. And this is back when PlayStation didn't have... ancient times. We had horses out front that were running on little wheels to power the houses.
So really quick, would you watch a Duke Nukem movie that John Cena plays as Mr. Duke?
Does a bear shit in the woods? Yes. Because he's funny. And he's a good actor.
I think he could play Duke Nukem
He could
perfectly.
do it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's awesome.
To continue, you were saying though. Sorry.
Oh no, it was. I just remember you could link up to two PlayStations and with obviously multiple televisions, which was kind of a bitch back then because TVs weighed. You know,
hey man, LAN parties were. Well, if you were doing a LAN party,
TVs weighed like a motorcycle. They're like 700 pounds. And I remember my buddy Clay and I were playing it, and I'll never forget the first time I figured out you can open up. Like cabinets in Duke Nukem, and I hid inside of a cabinet, and he goes running by me, and I sprung out and shot him, and we were laughing so hard, and we were screaming so hard that my mom came out and told us to shut the fuck up, and I just didn't know you could do that. You know, it was so much fun. Yeah, it was cool.
I mean,
but it's those feelings of those kinds of games. I mean, I got buddies that play games that are 15 years old because, first of all, it's the only game they really loved, and that's all they still play. And they got to play it on servers that are made by other gamers,
right? Because the servers are down.
Because the servers are down, and it's so cool to me that, you know, like even though like I play all these multiple games, and some friends are only playing one kind of game, that's the kind of nostalgia you live up to.
You know, I think about, like, for instance, like I grew up playing Left 4 Dead, Dawn of War. We played Guild Wars 1 a little bit. I only remember making like a blue fucking mohawk guy, and then I played it for like, I don't know, a day or whatever. But like Dawn of War is a big one for me because, man, I look at those models, right, of the Space Marines, and even knowing that the Primaris Marines are cool, like they do look cooler, those old school Space Marine models for me, it's just like that nostalgic feeling of like being a kid, you know, and looking at it, and it was just the most awesome thing to me. Like I play, so they redid. I think it's called Dawn of War Definitive Edition or something like that, where they completely remastered it, updated the engine to make it so that it's more accessible for modders to actually like input better, you know, community support and stuff. And it's the same thing, you know. Like I play it, and I'm like I'm a kid again. All right, so we talked about nostalgia in video games, so we'll talk about that more in other episodes, because I mean we can talk about nostalgic video games all
for
the time.
Hours.
And you know, I do want to talk about that because I want to express passion for a lot of games, because we talk a lot of negative. You know,
I want to bring up some more games later,
for sure,
so more people can maybe check.
So let's go ahead. Yeah, sorry, I'm interrupting. Let's go ahead and move to the second segment of the show today. We're going to move to the Back Alley Theater. So today, for drinks, we have been drinking it over the podcast. This episode, we have been enjoying
some delicious Guinness.
There you go. Yeah,
some creamy fucking
pints. We love the Guinness.
Yes,
we love it.
Let's clank glasses.
Clank, motherfucker.
All right.
Alrighty. All right, on to movies and TV shows.
Okay.
So, you've got some stuff here for you that you
I watched all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and
I just watched a movie on HBO Max called Dust Bunny, and the premise of the movie is there is a girl who is being terrorized by a actual dust bunny creature, and she thinks it's killing people. And she finds out that her neighbor, played by Mads Mikkelsen, is a assassin. And she literally steals money from a church and to hire him to kill this dust bunny.
Oh, my God.
And he's convinced that what happened is that the parents were killed by assassins trying to kill him. And it's and that she's just making all this up in her head. And that she's crazy.
Yeah.
Because she won't let people walk on the floor. It'll get you if you walk on the floor. And some crazy shit happens in this movie. And it was is
it like a cheesy?
No,
it's like it takes itself real seriously.
Yes and no. It's funny. It's a good movie. It's a fun movie. I wouldn't say it's something that you're going to go back and rewatch every year.
Yeah.
But I was laughing pretty much the whole time.
Okay.
So it was a good, like John Wick meets imaginary creatures.
Well, you know, you always also have this, like, really cool thing where you always find these interesting, like, not indie films, but, like, just, I don't want to say, like, bad films or anything. But...
No pun intended, my friend. I go down the rabbit hole.
And
if a movie looks like it's going to be fun, I just give it a shot. I mean, you can't have the taste I have in movies when it comes to horror movies and cheesy stuff and not enjoy something for what it is. Because a lot of times a movie is just fun for the fun's sake. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead and crack that can. I also watched a movie, which I don't normally watch because I fear sharks, but my wife loves shark movies. And I watched a movie on Netflix called Thrash. And it's a premise of the movie is a Category 5 hurricane is coming into town, and I think it's Louisiana, and it breaks the levees, and the whole town floods. And over a course of a whole day, the water level the rain level is like 14 inches in an hour. It's some crazy amount of rain. And then all of a sudden, with the flooding of the ocean, it raises the sea level in this town probably up to about 8 or 9 feet. And it's about all these different characters that are dealing with, and it's absolutely a shark movie. I mean,
it's not the Meg, you know.
No, but there is actually a great white in it, which is really cool.
I don't have the fear of sharks that you do, so it's hard for me to understand it. But
the only fear is the ocean is a big place, and they are murder torpedoes. And the cool thing about it is sharks are scary because they're real, and this movie, the sharks are a little on the ravenous side, which I think creates the tension in the movie. But it does. It
does
kind
of like how piranhas, you know.
It's a solid C movie. You know, I mean, it's a one and done.
I feel like shark movies always have, you know, there's not one shark movie that's other than like Jaws, right? Where it's like, oh my God, this is the one.
So Jaws is the only shark movie you can watch every year and be okay with. Thrash, the sharks are obviously CG. They look way better than any shark movie I've seen in a long time. Like even the first Meg wasn't terrible. The second Meg was awful.
Yes.
But Thrash, the sharks actually do a pretty good job. The stars of the show weren't necessarily sharks. It's the characters in it. There is a woman who works late at a job, and she's trying to get the hell out of town, and she gets everything goes south, and she's pregnant.
Oof.
And there's a scene where she's like, her car gets hit with the water from the water rushing in, and it gets shoved into a tree, and it locks her in. And then the main character is a is a younger teenage girl who is dealing with some PTSD. In the retrospective, both her parents were killed, and she doesn't ever leave her house. And her uncle is a marine biologist, and he's out there studying sharks. And she has to kind of go outside her box, her wheelhouse of her safe space, because she has to. And there's actually a group of 3 adopted kids that are living with a kind of a real piece of shit guy who's adopted them, but only wants to adopt them because he gets a big check from the government. And there's some cool scenes in that movie, or in this movie, with those kids that are really the stars of the show are definitely the kids.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
'cause kids are usually like a sore spot in a lot of movies for sure.
Yeah, I mean it deals with some heavier stuff. Like these adopted parents are not good people. They're just the kids. I mean, there's literally like a scene where the daughter of the 3 kids, of the 3 other orphan kids or foster kids, she goes downstairs to ask the foster parents for some food, and they find that they've been saving all this money, this $1,500 checks, and they got steaks down in a cooler down below, and they're eating steaks and all this good, and all they get is Wonder Bread to eat. Because they're poor, quote unquote, but they're not poor. It's pretty
terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking terrible. But hey, the sharks come in, they help some people out. So, it was a fun movie. It was probably one of the better shark movies I've seen in a while. So I would say Thrash is probably just below Jaws, not in greatness.
Would you say that shark movies are like, for me, like it's like monster movies, or shark movies kind of like your thing?
They're not. I don't watch them like that. My wife loves shark movies. I only need one shark movie my whole life. It's Jaws. But Thrash was one of the ones that I watched that I was like, it isn't so ridiculously terrible. Where the shark is actually really intelligent. Yeah, the sharks are just sharks, and they're just killing people. So
cool. That's awesome. I mean, I feel like sharks are one of those things that's definitely underrated and undertapped. Like, there's so much that you can do with a shark movie to make it so much more interesting.
There's so many shark movies, though, dude.
I know, but that's my point. Is like a lot of them are forgettable, or they're terrible, or there's just nothing like really good other than Jaws.
That's because real sharks aren't as evil as they are portrayed in the movies.
Right.
Sharks, you happen to be in.
Well, I mean, fuck, dude. How many movies about killer whales are there that are actually really good?
Orca. That's it.
There's only one? I thought there was more. Weird.
Nope. Orca came out as a response to Jaws, and it was actually terrifying.
Yeah, Orca scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Although killer whales scared
But
the shit
that one
out of me.
made more sense because it was all about a guy who was out a whaler, and he kills the mate. The mate of that orca is on his ass, dude.
You know what? Another older style movie really freaked me out. Fucking Cujo.
Yeah, but if you look at how rabies really is, because it's a movie about rabies, is that an animal doesn't have that hunter instinct to kill. It just twitches out and freaks out.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't go around hunting
No, but
people.
that fucking dog was fucking scary as shit.
It made a lot of people scared, and it was definitely it was one of those movies where it's practical effects, so it ages well.
Trained the dog.
And the dog was a good actor. I mean, the main actress in Cujo was the main actress in the Howling movie. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but Howling's one of the best horror werewolf movies since the 1930s or 40s Wolfman movie.
Well, wasn't also the actress with that dog also like really close? Like after scenes, they would just like love each other or whatever.
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I heard that somewhere.
I honestly don't know. I just know that I don't remember her name, and she was very prominent in the 70s and 80s, and she has the best terrified face in any horror movie she's in.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you want to see a good horror film that's werewolves, is The Howling. The other than American Werewolf in London, the practical effects in that are ridiculous.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, well, awesome. Got some fucking cool movies to go and check out, I guess, now. I mean, fucking asshole giving me more movies to watch.
Let's see some trailers before we go and watch the full film.
So you want to talk about all of the trailers?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
All right. I got a few trailers that I'm really excited for.
So what did you think about Passenger?
From the trailer that I watched, it looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if the fucking passenger guy is going to be really scary for me, because the ghost shit doesn't really get me that much.
He's not a ghost, he's a demon.
Okay, well, either way, the way that it's portrayed, that poltergeist kind of fucking shit doesn't get me that much.
Some of the imagery is awesome in that.
But yes, the way that it's made looks fucking good. Like it does every, like, you remember how I was talking about the Boogeyman?
Yeah.
Like, it's like that, but they actually give good payoffs, right? Just from the small snippets from the trailer, it looks like it's going to fucking
I saw
freak
your
people out.
reaction. It was same as mine. Is when the guy gets in the car and he drives by somebody on
And
the
he
side of
keeps
the road.
driving
and
by
he
the
keeps
same
like,
guy.
Oh yeah, dude.
I was like, "Fuck that!
Yeah.
I'm good, bro."
Yeah,
but then you have to stop in order to do because he won't let you leave. It's like it's a mixture of like I don't know if it's partially cosmic, right? Because that's a cosmic thing to me. That time manipulation where you're stuck in the same place, right? Which I'll go into that with another film that I'm excited about.
I think that demons can do that, though. I think that it looks really good. The premise of the story is that there's some kind of demon that tries to get you to stop, and then that's how it attaches itself to you.
Well, no, it's if you're on that road and you stop at all,
yes.
that's when he immediately comes for you. It
Yes.
seems like because it only activated when they stopped to let that guy go take a piss, and then since then, right?
Yeah, and I like how they try to play on the 135 million people go on road trips every year or something like that. Just to scare you.
15,000 don't come back.
Yeah, it's pretty.
But I mean, that premise alone is something that's real, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that go on like hikes or they just go missing, and that's where it becomes like partially real. Like you know how
I think that's what'll bring the terror part.
Agreed.
To that
Yes.
movie is the fact that the whole movie may not pay off if it's not like done well.
I would be kind of sad if it did the boogeyman thing where it doesn't pay off that well with the scares.
Well, the end of the trailer where she's backing up on the flashing lights and you see the thing behind her with its mouth open is absolutely
freaky.
One of the coolest imagery parts.
Freaky.
And I'm like, man, if that movie can keep that tension throughout the whole movie,
it's going to be great.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be great.
It doesn't necessarily have to be gory. It just has to make you feel uneasy.
Yeah.
You know, like the best horror movies in the world, regardless of what the content is the ones that when you walk out, it's like the movie cursed you and it follows you home.
Yep. Nope did that to me, and that's just because it caters to a lot of my personal feels. I sat in my car because it was bright out, and I was like, is there going to be a fucking ship going to come and eat me or some shit like that?
Yeah, no shit.
Know? Like, it happens.
I mean, that's what Jaws did. I was in the middle of a lake where sharks can't exist. And I'm like, dun. I'm like, I think I'm going to go sunbathe for a while. Really get cancer.
Passenger looks fucking like it's going to be great.
When I was a kid, that was like Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff. And I had a big fear of things underneath the bed. So like when I was a kid, I used to jump into my bed rather than.
Oh man. Like, I mean, we had that blue house that we lived in for a while. And like, that's the only place that I've ever had night terrors. It's the only place I've ever walked.
The house in Kent that you guys lived in, that house there was a cult family that lived there before. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a
Well, you know that me and Alyssa saw a face in the fucking the cubby holes. There's a reason why we blocked my cubby hole, because we literally saw a face in the darkness.
Oh, you want to hear a really good scary story? So check this out. So I went over to my dad's house. I was visiting my father, and he was living in a farmhouse. And he didn't have a spare bedroom upstairs for me to sleep in that time. So I went downstairs into the basement area, and they had it was a nice little area, mattress and a TV. And I stayed up late playing some games one night, and I'll never forget. I had my back to the wall. The bed was pushed against the wall, and I had my back to the wall, and I was reading something on my phone, and our wolf dog howled right out the window behind me. Sent chills down my spine. And then I looked out, and it was Lydia, and I was like, okay, whatever, you know. And I have a fear of mirrors, because I watched this movie called Mirrors with Keith Sutherland, where it's like a demon can, if it sees you in the mirror, it can manipulate you and make you kill yourself, whatever. And they had this tall mirror in that room, and I walked up and I threw a blanket over it. I was like, nope. And I'll never forget this. I put the mirror's at the foot of the bed. I leaned up against the wall. I threw a blanket over it, and I was up on my phone, and I was asleep, and I fell asleep with my phone in my hand because I was just up, and I passed out.
Yeah, you passed out.
Well, I woke up, and the mirror is laying on the bed like this, long ways.
What the fuck?
And I look up, and you know that adrenaline goosebumps?
Yeah.
I'm looking at myself in the reflection, and my reflection smiles. And as it's smiling, my hairline starts to fall back, and it starts to go pale, and the fangs come out. And it looked absolutely terrifying. And then as it lurched out of the mirror, I sprung up, and it was daylight out, and I was in a dream.
It was a
dream.
dream.
And the mirror was still where it was. And I had, like, my heart rate was like 160, and that was the most insane horror experience I've ever had. I literally grabbed the mirror, put the blanket on it, picked it up, and walked it out into the woods, and I threw it into the woods. My uncle had no idea. My dad did. And I was like, not this time. But that was the closest thing to a horror experience I ever had when it was like, that felt real.
Well, I mean, you remember back in that house when I walked out into the kitchen and then I just screamed because I was dreaming. I was walking through like rocky corridors, and I don't even remember getting out of my bed because I had that bunk bed. Yep. So it was like, how the fuck did I get out to that bunk bed?
Well, you did it multiple times because I used to live with you, remember? And
I slept-walked multiple times?
Yes.
What the fuck?
So you want to talk about a grown man being terrified is children are terrifying. And when I moved in with your dad, I was living in the garage at the time, and I had gotten up to get a glass of water, and I walked up, grabbed water, and turned around, and you were standing in front of me.
Why didn't you tell me this before?
Well, because, when you're a grown man, you almost pee your pants. And I looked down, and you're looking straight ahead, but you weren't really. I was like, is he awake or is he sleeping? And so I've always been told that if somebody sleepwalks, you don't want to wake him up because you can fuck with stuff. So I said, all right, buddy, good night. And I walked around you. As soon as I opened the door to the garage, you screamed. And I'm pretty sure my soul left my body at that second. And I just immediately slammed the door. I was like, nope, he can be possessed by himself. And then your mom came down and woke you up.
Yeah, because I remember everybody coming down, I only remember... From my perspective, it was I was walking through like a rocky passageway, and I got to a spot where it just ended, and I turned around, and it was really fucking stupid in my brain nowadays. But I had that little Charlotte's Web spider toy.
Yeah.
It chased me all the way through that, and then I stopped and I turned around, and it jumped at me, and that's why I screamed.
Oh,
I've never had sleepwalking, sleep paralysis, or anything other than that house. Like, I vividly remember, Cloverfield busting through my fucking window and just scaring the ever-living shit out of me. It was never the xenomorphs. It was never anything. It was just Cloverfield because it scared the fuck out of me.
It's funny because I think it's gigantic. It would have torn the whole house
I
down.
know, but I mean, I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
And it's so weird because I have vivid memories of that place, even still to this day. Like, I could describe pretty much how that house was, like through just from that experience. We got a little off topic, but
no, it's still movie stuff. It's
Passengers, we could talk about that on other episodes. I feel, but Passengers was cool. You had another one that you showed me too.
Yeah, it's the new Adam Scott horror movie called Hokum, the witch movie. What do you think?
I like the guy, Adam Scott.
Yep,
and he does a really good job in all of his projects. So I'm already excited for that because he's a really good actor.
Yep.
The aspects I like about it is that it's about a witch.
Yep.
I don't know if there's really going to be crazy scares because from the trailer it didn't really show anything crazy. It just showed some basic, there's a witch possessing this house. But I think I'm more excited for Passengers than Hokum.
I want to see both.
I want to see both. Don't get me wrong.
I really want to do it. I want to see both.
But I think Passengers will be a lot cooler and more of a scary
experience. It has more potential being cooler.
Yes.
But we'll see what happens. Because I really liked the Netflix original, The Ritual, about the guys that went. I
fucking love that movie.
Yeah, about the guys that go on a hike.
Yes.
And Hokum has that kind of feel.
Yeah, I can see that.
It may not be it's not the same, but it's definitely dealing with say Celtic pagan practices because you can see the symbols in the trailer.
Yeah.
I think that's good. What are your thoughts on? I'm going to switch right over to Call of Duty Battlefield movies.
Hold on, I got two movies. I got fucking two movies.
We can get to that later.
We can get to it later. What do you mean? It's on movie trailers. They're not even out yet.
My bad.
You've got your movies, Hokum and Passenger, which both look fucking fantastic. But I'm excited for two movies: Mortuary's Assistant, which
really.
Yeah, the Mortuary's Assistant.
I know
movie?
the game is really awesome, but I heard the movie isn't very good.
Is it? It's out, right? Is it really? I really suck.
I mean, listen, you got to reserve your actual opinions for
my own self.
For your own self. So some people say it's not as strong as it should be, but I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so I might watch it, see how it is.
Either way, I remember watching the trailer for it, and I also have the guys that did the practical effects for the bodies and shit on Instagram, and seeing all of the different practicals for it. It looked fucking cool.
Well, it definitely has almost all the cool horror moments from the game. Remember when you were playing it and I was telling you got to play this game because I'd gone through it once.
Yeah.
And I was successful on my first run picking,
I wasn't
picking the demon. I actually got the demon in the furnace, and I was so happy. And then they go, "Well, now you got to do it again." I'm like, "What?" But one of the scariest scenes in the game is in the movie, and it's a scene where you're operating on a body to get it ready, and the grandmother is at the window asking you to let it in. I don't know if you ever got to that.
I don't think I got that
so
one.
I got that scene.
The ones that were always like the guys peeking around the corner.
So I got that too.
The girl down the hallway was a good one too.
Such good scares in that game. When
yes,
it comes to
and
imagery.
they're not crazy jump scares or anything. They're just like natural.
Yeah,
it always gets me when you see like you're turning really fast doing shit, and then you see down the hallway something peeking around the corner, and then as it notices you noticing it, it pulls away.
Yep.
Perfect fucking jump scare, or just scares as whole.
Yeah, because it's not trying to scare you and get the whole scare out of you right away. It wants to build it up.
Yeah.
Because there are some jump scares in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, you watched me play it, and I didn't. I think I had my camera on for you too, and it wasn't anything that was like,
I think one thing got you, and I think it was really stupid. I can't remember what it was.
I think it was a noise.
It probably was,
because I get noises can get me if I'm not paying a lot of attention, or if I'm really focused on something.
The one that got me, like I told you, was I was operating on a body, and you know how in the game you have to like roll the wrist over.
Yeah.
Well, it got to a point where I had to walk around on the side where the cabinets were, and roll the body over to look for any kind of markings like cancer marks or bumps. And as soon as I rolled the body over and it shows like a little mole or something so I could write down in the list, I hear a huge knock on a window, and the hair on my back fucking stood straight the fuck up. And I turn around and there's this old lady going, whatever her name was. Remember when I was like, dude, no. I've seen Evil Dead.
Fuck you.
You don't let the old lady in. You don't let the old lady. It's a trick. Get an axe. And then the more you ignore her, the more aggressive the lady gets.
That's always what it does.
And you can hear the voice of the demon coming out of the apparition.
That's really cool,
dude. After that happened and it made that's a loud noise, and as it can't get to you, like I had to sit there and like in the game that's still running, I'm like.
Didn't I go outside to go catch something at one point too?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope that the movie's not bad because it's A24. No, is it A24?
I don't know who the
A24 usually does a really good job, so it might not be A24. But I just think that would have been a really cool concept for a movie. The other one, which I'm really excited for, it looks really good in my opinion, is the Backrooms. Now, I know you're not probably familiar.
I don't know anything about the game. I just know I've seen parts of the game.
Well, it wasn't a game. It was actually just an ARG on YouTube where this dude was just doing Blender reels where he would just make the Backrooms kind of a thing. And it was just that. And then there was games that came after it because it became so popular. It's this idea about, are you familiar with liminal space? So the liminal space is, you ever go, like especially in the 90s, where you go to like a hospital and there's rooms where it's empty, but there's nobody in there, but it's like a void kind of, and it makes you feel like you're like in a uncanny space because things seem familiar, but it doesn't look quite right. That's all liminal spaces, and that's all the Backrooms is. It looks familiar, but it's not. There's pieces to it that doesn't seem right, and your brain recognizes it as an odd space. Now there's a lot of levels to the Backrooms. That it goes to like hotels, and then it goes to like pools, because pools have a lot of liminal spaces, especially from the 90s, how they were designed. Like you go to a pool from the 90s and you turn off the lights, that's liminal space, right? It's this crazy idea where they find this through just a wall that takes you to this other place. And in this other place, there are monsters, but they don't really show themselves until you're really encroaching on their space, territorial kind of. And it's just this bizarre cosmic kind of horror thing. The actors that they have in it, I already know that they're really good actors, so I have a good feeling that this one's going to be good. I think it comes out on May 12th is what it is. I'm so for it. I wasn't for it when it first got announced, but I'm for it now. The trailer convinced me over, and I'm super excited for it.
Okay, that's awesome, man. I thought it was a video game at first. I didn't know it was a short on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, just a little like YouTube videos where this,
because I saw Backrooms as on Steam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a couple of games,
and that's where I saw it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow, they're making another indie game movie because Mortuary Assistant.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, they're really picking off of the the popular, indie game scene kind of thing. I didn't know it was a YouTube short.
At first was just a YouTube video. I think it was like 11 minutes or whatever. And it starts off where the camera just pops up and it mimics it because it's in Blender, so it's CG. But it looks like almost real because of people are fucking crazy. And it really is just him like walking around and like looking through these hallways, and then there's like stuff that goes down and up, and he'll like look through them. And then when it ends is when he's starting to get chased by this like dangly fucking wire string monster that's being fucking loud. And it's creepy because he's only being chased by it, so you don't really get good shots of it because it warps the camera. So he gets noticed by it, and it starts chasing him, so he's trying to fucking run away. And then eventually he does just die. And then it starts going to where the government gets in, and then they start having dudes in hazmat suits going through and like dropping wire to make sure that they can get back, and then like exploring the back rooms as much as possible. It's a cool concept, really cool concept.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. Yeah, I didn't know anything about it. That's
maybe you should because it's super short. Check it out at some point. Okay. It's something that I think is good.
Yeah, and if anybody else is listening, check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah. I'm excited for the movie. I'll get back to you once it comes out because I'm definitely going to see it for sure.
Okay.
Next thing, you have. I didn't even know that these were things.
Neither did I, dude. And I was not excited, but I had to report it anyways.
Apparently, there's going to be a Call of Duty and Battlefield movie coming in some sort of future.
Yep, and I think it's Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan's producing it?
He's producing Call of Duty, and I think he might star in it. They're not 100% sure. He's not the main actor yet, but they.
He does make good films.
I mean, he's a good actor, but I mean, it's Call of Duty, dude. And
I know, but at the same time, what if it comes out and it's fucking rad as shit?
Well, they'll just make one every year.
Yeah.
And it's funny because as soon as the Call of Duty movie was announced, Battlefield
was immediately like, we got to do it too.
Yeah, and so they got another studio to do the same thing.
Do you think that Battlefield would go towards what they were doing?
I haven't played Battlefield since Battlefield, the first one that was like a Call of Duty. So Battlefield 3 maybe?
3 or 4.
Probably 3. That's the last one I played. Because the original Battlefield was that big open world, massive, play 128 players.
Battlefield 1942 is probably the best.
That's the one. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
So that's the one that I thought like.
Talk about nostalgia games too.
Right. That was the only Battlefield I ever liked.
I liked Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4 was really fun with the multiplayer. Me and my buddy Tatum played it a bunch.
Didn't you guys play the 6 one too?
Yes, we did. Yeah, for a while. It wasn't bad. It was just there's a couple of things with that. Is that the microtransactions turned more towards Call of Duty style.
Right. But we're talking about movies right now. And,
but I mean, again, I want to have hope that they'll make something fun and just have fun with it. Like the Call of Duty movie, I want it to be. I want it to be like what how like the Dungeons and Dragons movie. It feels like a campaign, right? And it's just idiots playing the game. Yep. I want that to be the Call of Duty movie. Is like literally have it just be idiots playing the video game together. Don't make it. I think if you try to take it seriously, is the moment that you're going to throw people out the window.
I don't know how they're going to do it because
I don't either.
I know how Call of Duty has their campaigns and they have very serious.
The best campaigns are the Modern Warfare trilogy. The Call of Duty 4 to 7 or whatever. I think that's the best storyline. Just because even Modern Warfare 2's story was fucking crazy. It was so good. But just adapting that into a film just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, like the newer Call of Duty Modern Warfare games are already just like movies,
Right.
So it would be kind of a shot in the foot that you're already doing there for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm on the. I probably won't go see them because I don't really care for either one of those series of games, and I just don't care for that kind of stuff. So, but I was just. I mean, I'm shocked that they're making movies out of them, but
you're just kind of like.
But I'm not. But I'm not like in disbelief. Like I can't believe they were making that. It's like about time they came out. They've been cash cows forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, your favorite series is getting a potential movie, Kayman.
We've known about it for a while. Because
I did not.
They've done the Mario film, right, and it did very well and successful. So Nintendo immediately acknowledged that they were doing a Metroid movie, and then they already acknowledged that they're doing two of my favorite games from Nintendo, Luigi's Mansion and Metroid, right? I don't know if it's just announced for pre-production or if it's being announced that a trailer is going to come out soon?
No. What I read in the article is pretty much what you said. Because of the success of Mario, the Metroid is obviously the second choice next to maybe Zelda, but who knows?
I feel like Zelda we already know is actually in production right now.
Is it?
Yes. They have a couple of actors that actually look like
Oh, that's right.
characters.
That's right. And that'll be live action, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So is Metroid live action or is it CG? Do we know?
We don't know.
Okay.
No, we don't know.
So right now, I know that the two studios, Universal and Sony, are trying to bid to produce the film.
Which is so weird because Metroid isn't even the most popular Nintendo franchise.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the article was funny that Sony Pictures wants to make it, and Sony's been a rival of Nintendo forever.
That's a fair point.
And I think that would be super funny if Sony won. I think.
Well, if they did it in an animated, like Sony Animation has done a lot of really crazy.
I'm not
work.
saying anything bad about Sony Studios when it comes to like their movies and stuff. They make good films. I just think it's funny because they're on a competing platform of video games,
Nintendo,
and they've been eating at Nintendo.
Well, it'd be the same thing with like Spider-Man. Like they want to hold it so that they can hold it against them forever.
Yeah.
Like they have the Spider-Man name since they had the Sam Raimi films, so they have to literally go and Marvel has to go.
I
to
don't
them.
think Nintendo would do that at all.
I don't think so either. I feel like if they did do Sony, it would be a conjoined patent to have both of them.
Is the same CG development team that makes Minions and the Mario films, Illumination, are they Universal? Do you know?
They're not, because Universal's a part of Disney, so no. I don't think so.
I don't think Universal's part of Disney.
Universal Studios, because they own Aliens, and Aliens is a Disney queen now. 20th Century Fox is owned by Universal.
Yeah, but it's Fox, not Universal.
But they own Universal.
Okay.
Yeah. What did you ask me a minute ago?
I asked you if the characters from the Minion Illumination is owned by Universal, because that would make sense because that's where Mario's made.
Owner. It is Universal. Division of Comcast. Universal. Disney. I'm getting it for the what do you call it? The theme parks.
Yeah, I didn't think that Disney owned Universal. I thought Disney was their own thing and Universal was their own thing, and they just gave the rights to Fox.
Oh, here we go. Does Disney own? No. Okay, Universal Studios is not a part of Disney.
Right.
They are completely separate.
Yeah, but
okay.
But I think that. But we all know that
who's 20th Century Fox owned by then?
They were Fox. They were Fox forever.
Okay. I might have just mixed that up then. My bad.
No, you're good. That's good. I thought it was weird, but Universal did make the Mario films.
Because of Illumination.
Yeah.
Which I have it on here. A lot of people with the Mario films, right? Which we kind of glossed over the Metroid film, but we don't know too much information about it.
Right.
I can go on about how my own personal gripes with it or whatever, but I think we'll save that for when we get a trailer. But the Mario films, we'll go on to that, where the first one came out, and I thought it was fine. It's not a bad movie. I don't think both of those movies are bad movies, but they're not as good as I want them to be. And everybody always excuses it off as like, oh, they're kids movies. Well, it's like you could have a kids movie, but it'd still be fucking crazy good.
But Mario isn't just about a kids movie. Mario is a IP and a character that's spanned 50 years.
Right.
Mario's been around since the early 80s, so maybe 40 years or whatever. But the people that played Mario when it came out are my age. So you're going to have people that are nostalgic for Mario that just want it to be Mario. They don't. It doesn't matter if it's a kids movie. Plenty of adults watch kids movies.
Yes.
Parents have to watch them, but we all like Disney films. Back the old school Disney films back in the day,
Well, but those Disney films they were really good, and it's not that they weren't. I don't think anybody really goes and says like Cinderella is it just a kids movie, right? Because it has a lot of things in it.
They were kids movies, but the thing about Disney films back in those eras was they had adult content in it. Like look,
Pixar did that exclusively.
Bambi's mom gets killed. I mean, that was rough. That was rough for a lot of kids.
That's a fair point.
You know, I mean, there's a whole fire and he's trying to get away. I mean, I'll never forget, like in Land Before Time, when the main character's mom gets killed by the T-Rex. That was terrifying as a child. You know, but
I think
I enjoy Super Mario Brothers.
I thought it was good.
I haven't seen the second one, but I
haven't either yet.
I heard the second one is more of the same, but a little less story. They separate the character arcs in 3 different ways.
I just don't want it to turn into, oh, now this character's in the movie and that's just it. You know, I want it to have at least a little bit more to it than just that, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It's done, the second one's done extremely well.
Okay.
So, I mean...
I haven't seen too much on it. I've only
I think it's made almost $840 million.
Yeah, well, I mean, a movie can make a shit ton of money because the audience is going to see it no matter what.
I'm just saying it's popular
that
film.
Doesn't, right. I'm just saying that doesn't mean that it's an amazing film. That's all I'm saying. And that's probably just me being too much of a critic, for sure. I have that part of me that...
Critics don't enjoy movies.
Yeah, I enjoy some movies. But I don't know. It's the same thing with like Metroid. Like Metroid isn't really a kid's game. Like Mario can sometimes be like a kid's game for sure, but Metroid is pretty fucking dark and pretty real because you're literally alone on a planet. You know,
it's not a kid's game, but it's not an adult game either. It's more of a teenage game. You know, it's definitely in that.
So they
era.
have to have at least the PG-13, right? Whether that means a blood from the aliens that she kills or whatever, you know, I'm not 100%.
It's got to be as violent in my eyes as a Marvel film.
The only thing I care about is that they keep subtext because Samus doesn't talk in all of the games. She talks in like one game, and that's like the most hated game in the Metroid franchise, and that's Other M. Most of the other games, it's like, you know, text to just explain, you know, why she's going on this grand adventure, and then the whole game you're just playing Samus doing her mission.
Well, I mean that could be easily done with just like say a fake AI assistant in the game, like a robot that talks.
They literally have it. His name is Adam.
Yeah. So there you go. You know, I mean, they could do it like that.
For sure. But are they going to do that? That's the real question. Are they going to actually, you know, be faithful to the Metroid franchise and make Metroid fans happy, or are they just going to make another Nintendo movie? You know what I mean? That's my biggest worry.
It could go one of two ways.
Yeah, and we'll see it when it comes out.
Yeah, we'll see you'll see the trailer and see how the trailer...
I will be very, very critical of the trailer.
Okay.
So you've got another thing here. We did talk about this one. I'll skip this one here. So going on to some stuff that I've done. I'm a big fan of superhero films and superheroes in general. Whether that be Superman or Marvel or, you know, Captain America. My favorite superhero is Spider-Man. But another series that I've been following up on for a long time, and I don't think you have because you're not a fan of Invincible. It has been Invincible. They just wrapped up season 4, which it's now halfway through the comics. And I'm not going to spoil it or say anything crazy, but I do think narratively it's one of the best shows you can watch, especially right now. Especially season 3 and 4. I think season 4 is way better narratively, other than a few parts where I wish they extended it out a little bit more. Specifically, what's called the Viltrumite War. I really wish that we got more than just 2 episodes of that because it's such an impactful moment in the comic books. But other than that, it's still masterful. Biggest problem with the show is the animation, and everybody's complained about it. Everybody said the same things about it. The animation is not that great. It's pretty bare bones. Now, that comes to Amazon and, you know, all of the buttloads of money that they have, but they're not giving the animators enough time to do their work, and the budget that they have goes all to the voice actors. Now, J.K. Simmons is fucking awesome. Everybody loves J.K. Simmons, but that man makes like 90% of the budget. So, you know, there's a lot of things that they do in that show that really just borders the line of like, what the fuck are we doing? Now, does it take you out of the show? On second watch, yes. On the first watch, no. Is it a good show? Yes. I highly recommend. I don't know if you're going to watch it, because I know you don't have any interest in it.
Right. I'm just burnt out of superhero films, so I don't watch a lot of superhero films anymore.
And then I have the other one, which I've been pretty disappointed with the last season, which is The Boys. Watched all the way through season 1 and 2, and I thought season 1 was pretty good. I thought it was really awesome, really good show. Season 2 wasn't bad, but it did have some spots where I was just like, come on, guys. And then Season 3, it just did the same thing that Season 2 added and then just accentuated it more. Now, what I'm talking about is they bring a ton of modern-day shit into a comic book series that was anti-hero and anti-capitalism. Now, the show is anti-capitalism, only in the aspect that big company owns the superheroes and makes them, it's a satire on like Hollywood. Like you get these crazy fucking idolized, people, but in reality they're just like shitheads. Now, the one that they really like to dog on, and the writers and the director have mentioned it multiple times, is about Trump. I don't want to get political here. I just want my media, to be separate from what's happening in real world, which I think we've referenced this before. We want to escape from the real world.
They have a hard time doing that because that's all their identity is, these writers and directors of Hollywood. Like, everything is about the message, and everything is about who's a Nazi and who's not a Nazi and all this other junk.
Yeah.
And people are just... That's why movies fail so much now, and that's why... Hollywood's just in shambles.
Well,
and,
it just
and
feels
a lot of
like
people talk about it already.
It feels uncreative when they're just using basic shit that we already see in our real lives and just being like, "Oh, guys, don't you get it? That's like this thing that happens in our world." And it's like, "Yeah, cool. Can you get back to the part where the dudes punch each other?"
Yeah, no joke.
Is The Boys bad? No, but it has gotten to a point where my brain turns off on a lot of it.
Yep.
So they've been doing season 4. It's not finished yet. I just finished the latest episode. I think it was like last week. And it's not a disappointment. There are things that are disappointing about it, but there's a lot of things that I really enjoy about the season and the narrative and the characters. Now, the characters is a very big focus with The Boys because that's kind of the important part of it,
right.
is the individual characters that have their mini narratives that combine together and whatnot in the season finale. This one is supposed to be the last season, and it's going to cap the whole story, and it's going to be, some crazy shit's going to happen, and I'm pretty hyped for it if they do continue to do that. But they still have a lot of the same things. Like right now, to slightly spoil it, kind of, I mean, Homelander's already been that kind of egomaniac character. He's now thinking he's a god, and that he's the destined one, he's Jesus Christ, and they're using the whole religious aspect into it to being like, oh yeah, we're going to market him as Jesus Christ, we're going to market him as God because he's so powerful, and they're allegorying it to a dictatorship, and it's just so oblivious that it really shoots me out of the scenes. But saving grace is that Anthony Starr is a fucking fantastic actor, and he does a really good job at playing Homelander. That's all I'm going to say for that, because honestly, they're just kind of disappointing to me now, and I'm really sad about it. And
I checked out of The Boys after season 1, so
I don't want to talk about it much anymore. I'll probably tell you about it once it finishes and see if it's any good. If it sticks to landing, it sticks to landing. But
the problem with a lot of these modern day TV shows is that, and movies, is that you'll have 5 seasons and 2 of them are good.
Right.
And the rest of it's had potential being good, but you see why they were bad or why they turn out being bad because they have to put the message in there or their political opinions. And it's like, dude, nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares. Well, people that watch The Boys want to see superheroes doing shit that superheroes don't typically do, like rip each other's heads off and do some
or
nasty
shit.
Yeah.
Dirty shit, which they do that a lot. And I feel like the show really thinks that the dirty shit is so funny when, like, some of it's really funny, but I think it's gotten old, especially now.
Of course, the tropes get bad.
They have a character, Soldier Boy, who's like a Captain America ripoff, and like his whole thing is that he's this old dude that wasn't a part of the military, but pretends that he was a part of the military, but he's just like an old, sex crazed fucking drug addict, right? And there's times where he is, because what's his name? The dude that plays Jensen Ackles. Fucking awesome actor. He plays him really well. Like, he embodies the character for sure. And he's really funny at his deliveries, but it's really just the dialogue itself that takes me out of it, at least. Right. I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there that really enjoy The Boys, and you're more than welcome to. You can have your own opinions, even if they're wrong.
Damn right.
But other than that, I went and rewatched a good movie.
Oh.
That we both like.
Okay.
And that's Prey.
Oh, you mean the only other good Predator movie besides the original?
I fucking love Prey.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie.
And it's weird because it bucks the whole trend of women being powerful.
Women empowerment.
You know, it's...
Because she's really not that powerful. She just learns to outsmart hit.
Yeah, and she's actually... Well, I mean, she's a badass, and the men don't give her any credit.
Mm-hmm.
But and that would make sense back then for that era of time. But when the men start getting picked off by the Predator...
Which is awesome, by the way.
Awesome. And she has to go toe-to-toe with it. It's a cool...
it turns into a battle of wits.
It's a good movie with a strong female character. Mm-hmm. You know, it harkens back to the 80s. You know, the Sarah Connors, the Sigourney Weaver.
Sarah Connor.
You know, Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. You know, it brings back those characters where the character is believable. You know, she's not picking the Predator up with one hand and saying, "You son of a bitch." She's getting her ass kicked and barely winning.
Yeah,
and
she's scraping by every fight.
And like because the Predators are always have the upper hand because they're a more sophisticated race of species than we are. But the fact that she always wanted to be a warrior, and the fact that she took the shit seriously, and she was just as much of a warrior as the boys were. But wasn't given, and she was obviously weaker than the boys, but she still had her strengths. It makes the character compelling.
Well, we've talked about it a lot. I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast, but we talked about it a lot. You know, even it doesn't matter what gender you are, you can still be a scrawny person and not be as fit as a big fucking warrior to fight something. But you have probably something else that's your strength. You know, whether that be your intelligence to outwit somebody, or even just your strategy. Strategy doesn't require intelligence.
And at the end of the day, you're either going to win or lose.
Right.
And what people identify with when they watch movies like that is the character winning because the script makes her win, or is
she being handed
or is the movie written well enough and smart enough to where you're thinking the same thing she's thinking. You're like, holy fuck, I was just thinking that's what she should do because they kind of hinted towards things like that in the whole movie. And that's what she knows. And that's what that movie did.
There's just something about like that in Predator 1 for me. Like Predator 2 I still like. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Predator 2 is fun.
It's not a terrible movie, but
it's
not
fun.
my favorite.
Well, it's a fun movie. You know, I don't view it as like Predator 1 where it was this unstoppable force. You know, this hunter came out of nowhere and like.
In Predator 1, you had this big hulking human, and then this big hulking badass alien, and I mean Arnold Schwarzenegger in that movie he punches that Predator right in the face. The Predator just looks at him like, "Is that all you got?"
Yeah,
and then punches him and knocks him. And even so, essentially, you know, Arnold, even though being big and bad, it was essentially the same thing, same kind of thing. Arnold outwitted the creature, and that's why the creature was like.
Do you think that when they were writing that was kind of what they were trying to go for? Because I mean, it's the same idea, just different.
Are you talking about for Prey?
Yeah.
I think Prey was an homage to Predator 1.
Okay. Yeah, I think
just with a really cool concept of being, in the Americas during the Native American era, when they were tribes, and it was like
it could have flopped so hard if you think about it. Like they could have done it so much worse.
It was done really well. The first time I watched it, I wasn't like, oh god, another woman character being powerful than a man. It was like. She helped the men out when they were getting decimated. When stay back and get in the kitchen, and she's like, "Guys, it's over here. No, you stay in the kitchen and cook the buffalo." And then all of a sudden, boom, they're getting decimated. And then she's like, "Told you guys," And you could have written that as a weak male character, like a scrawny male character that was treated the same way. You're not a warrior; you're just a weak little man, whatever. Same exact thing. You could have swapped the gender roles in that character, and it would, but equally as good.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody always points to the gender because it's kind of the biggest discussion point with a lot of movies lately. But I mean, even like you said, like you could have swapped it and it wouldn't have mattered. It would have been the same.
Well,
concept.
a good character is a good character, and her character and the actress were really good. And they didn't just change the role and then make this woman be able to beat up a 6.5 foot tall alien.
I think it was like 7 feet.
Yeah, well,
fucking overpowering.
Can basically punch through a wall and bash through our walls that our houses are made of, and look at you like what, and they didn't make her like body flip him or anything. She had to outsmart it. And that's what you're there for. It's like, who's the best hunter? Who outsmarts? I mean,
right. Well, that's like the biggest thing is like the hunting aspect of it is like, it's outplaying one another.
Yeah,
you know?
predators.
It's a full-on chess match.
Predators in general don't typically go toe-to-toe with just their strength. They're using all kinds of different ways to kill something.
They have a ton of gadgets.
Yep.
Ton of gadgets.
And they use all of them to their advantages. And sometimes they don't even get involved with the main fight. They just, it's only when they have a grandiose creature, or enemy they're fighting, is when they want to show the sheer strength of the creature, like a predator going toe-to-toe with a xenomorph with a spear and fighting back and forth with one of the baddest aliens in the world. And that's kind of what Prey did. She had to go and outsmart this creature the old-fashioned way, and you could put anybody in that sort. So yeah, that's why that movie will live on.
Yeah, I think that movie is definitely a good one. And I'm glad that I rewatched it again because it's been a minute since I've seen an awesome Predator
good film.
Movie. And we played the game, so I was like, I gotta watch a Predator movie. All right, well, I think that's good for the back alley theater. So let's go ahead and move down to the Stork Club.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hit some music up.
You've got some fucking music that you've been checking out recently again.
Last couple of days I've been kind of delving into random stuff in my library. And I've seen this band live, Ice Nine Kills, and I liked them like 5 years ago, and then I thought, man, they're a one-trick pony. All they do is horror stuff, and I kind of got out of them a little bit. And I listened to a couple of their newer albums, and they still kind of follow that same method. They still kind of sing about horror stuff. But,
like a formula?
Yeah, but the thing is, their music is good. I really like their music. And
I think Art of Dying might still be like their magnum for me.
So the last album I listened to was the one in 2021, and it was here. Let me look it up real quick because I had the name in the back of my head, and I just forgot it because I'm ridiculously stupid right now.
It's okay.
The album was Welcome to Horrorwood, and it does all the same tropes as one of my other favorite album prior, Silver Screams, where they just basically incorporate different horror movies and they make a song about it. But the shit's hard and the shit's heavy, and it's got a lot of good harmonizing vocals in it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they're really good at doing that too.
And I think that if you're a horror fan, like I am, where I like all the horror from Chucky to Freddy to Jason, to Aliens to, Nightmare, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all those classic horror films, it's cool to listen to a metal song and then you go, oh fuck, they're talking about Hellraiser. Oh shit, they're talking about Chucky, and the way they throw it in is very member berry in my opinion, but it's still done really well.
I mean, I feel like you mentioned member berries. I feel like they do it in a natural aspect where they're taking the aspects of it, but
they're horror fans.
They're doing something new with it though.
Yeah,
they're not just being like, repeating scenes.
When they played live, I saw them with Avatar in Spokane, and when they would do songs and they were dedicating it to like Jason Voorhees, there's actually legitimately a part where they're playing and this guy comes out as Jason and hacks somebody up on stage and stands in front of the crowd with his machete and everybody freaks out. And they did that with Art the Clown. Art the Clown came out as a person dressed as Art the Clown, and they do that like a nightmare. And they change up every song, they're different.
That's just
outfits.
fun when bands do
it's
that
very
shit,
cool. It's very cool, and they put on a really good show. And I think that if you're like a horror fan, like I am, and you like metal music like I do.
Didn't they do... Who was the one that did the Joker?
That's them.
That's them too?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Yep. I didn't know if that was for sure.
And I think the reason why they resonate is because you could tell they care. They love the material.
Yeah.
Like they're a horror movie fans. And when they write stuff, I mean, there's literally... There's a song about Child's Play, Chucky, and there's literally a breakdown where he's doing the chant, the evil chant to put himself into the body of the kid, and it's very cool. So I was listening to that, and I also went down the rabbit hole and listened to a greatest hits album of Run DMC, and I know we were talking about this on prior episodes where I need to listen to more hip hop, but I went back to my era of hip hop. And listening to Run DMC I could completely see where the Beastie Boys copied them. Their cadence, the way they rap, the shit they rap about, the fact they're both from New York City. Dude, you don't get any better than that. I mean, I was sitting there just laughing as I'm working out in the backyard and listening to this old school hip hop. And I'm like, this is the shit that I remember, and it doesn't get old. It doesn't get old. Like you could be 90, you could be 15 and still like it.
Well, there's something about, that you can feel the passion that they have, right, with those songs that you just can't forget. I always go back, for me, is always like the 90s R&B and hip-hop with like, like I've mentioned before, like Dr. Dre and Ice Cube and shit. And there's just something about their music that just clicks.
For me in the 80s, when you listen to like bands like Beastie Boys and Run DMC, you could tell, it's kind of like what we just said about Einstein Kills. You could tell they were fans of the music they were rapping. Mm-hmm. Like Run DMC is hip hop. Mm-hmm. That's why they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like they legitimately, when they're talking, and even though some of it's tongue in cheek, there's some seriousness about them being the best MCs, or the best rappers or whatever. And there's songs about. There's a song that I love. It's called "Hard Times." It's about being broke. And there's literally a point where they're talking about, well, you could have gotten into an apprenticeship and gotten into a trade. And I'm like, who raps about this stuff? Guys who are on the ground, who are in the clubs with 3 people watching them and then become huge. And that's why I love that old school hip hop, because I feel like you're there for something amazing that's happening. So when I listen to the rap now, that sounds like mumble rap, and it's all like
mostly
it's
talking
corporate
about
rap
drugs,
is what it is.
Talking about drugs and bitches.
And it's all corporate rap. Those guys never saw any of that shit. And when you listen to like old school bands like Run DMC, Public Enemy, Beastie Boys, those guys were there at those clubs supporting those other MCs in small clubs, and they all had a network of people, and they were talking about New York City, and you wanted to fucking go there, even if they're talking about going to like a shady place in the city.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to be with those guys. I want to be the fly on the wall, listen to those guys talk.
Yeah, I mean, I always imagine that with like like the bands I've talked about, like just imagine just being a fly on the wall when they're writing that shit.
Yep.
Like the brainstorming sessions that they have to have with each other. I want to sit and
you'd be so disappointed if they came in, they had like a shot of whiskey, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to talk about a werewolf," and then you're like, "What?" And then they make a song after like 6 hours of like being drunk and stoned, and you're like, "Man, I thought it was so much deeper than that."
Yeah, but I mean, even then, there's still something to enjoy about it. You know, I mean, like I think about it, like imagine being on the wall. For me, like when NWA was writing their shit, like they talk about
again, NWA was one of those younger guys living in Compton, living in the California area, seeing the shit that's going on around them, people getting shot by cops, cops that are probably obviously racist at the time, that are basically because some people can't get over the fact that where they're doing a lot of their job, like cops in general, are seeing the worst of the worst people, and they're like. It's easier for the human brain to say everybody in this area is a piece of shit, and not like how it really is, where it's a small percentage of pieces of shit and there's people just trying to fucking survive. And old school rap like that, when they're telling stories from that perspective of being the black kids on the street with guys on the corner slinging drugs, and 4 streets down there's a drive-by. Those people were living that shit every day.
Right.
It doesn't mean that Ice Cube and Eazy-E and Dr. Dre were drug addicts or pieces of shit. They were just like, hey man,
this is just what we saw.
This is what we see in our life.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, being a kid from the suburbs, I'm not driving around acting like I'm a gangster. But when I listen to old school rap like that, they're painting a fucking picture of their lives. And that's what I thought was really cool about rap like that back then, is that you had to be good at rapping. And it wasn't just what...
I mean, shit, even fucking like Eminem, right? Like
he's an anomaly, dude. I mean, that guy is so retardedly creative and insane.
Yeah.
But all the people that we just talked about are people that inspired Eminem, and he was also a kid from the streets that had a shitty ass life before he became successful like he is now.
Yeah.
And like bands like I said, Run DMC and Beastie Boys, they were these guys that were living their lives and just talking about it. And you have to be someone. I mean, I hate to say it, but Run DMC aren't just 2 idiots that are just like rapping. Like they actually can write shit down, and they're and they're using. Educated words. They're educated men, and they're spitting these rhymes, and I think that's the reason why I can't. I mean, dude, I can't identify with new rap, is because it just sounds stupid to me.
You talk about using like educated words, and we talked about Eminem. Like that's like the only thing I can think about that. Like is the way he manipulates words to rhyme with each other.
But a good MC does that.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like there was the one interview where he was talking to somebody, and they were like, how are you good at doing your rhymes? And he brought up rhyming with orange. Like he was like, there's not a lot of words that rhyme with orange, but you can make things that sound like they rhyme with orange. And he brought up, he made this little rhyme like right on the fucking spot. And like, I can't do that shit. Like the freestyle rap shit, like I can't do.
Well, that's because
I can't
because that's a culture. That's a culture.
I know.
And you had that all in the 80s and the 70s, especially in like
there was a certain struggle in the suburbs with that period in time
and the urban suburbs, yes,
that a lot of people really had. And it's really interesting because like we come from metal, and a lot of metal really takes a lot of like anger and pain, right? While rap takes a lot of like visuals and tries to tell.
Well, they both paint a picture.
Yes, but they're different pictures, though, is what I'm saying, right? Like it's so interesting in my brain to talk about the rap is talking about their how they grew up, like with NWA being in Compton, or
right.
The Backstreet Boys being in
Backstreet Boys. You mean Beastie Boys?
Beastie Boys, sorry.
In New York City?
In New York City, like in my mind, it's so interesting to paint that picture with that, but then you go like into metal, and it's a completely different picture.
Well, but there are
even like you compare it with like blues, and it's a different picture, but they're the same.
Blues and rap are very similar because they are painting a picture of something. But blues has so much emotion and soul to it that it's retarded. Like you can feel the pain on certain things, and that's what anyways, like I said, I went down the rabbit hole and I went down to Run DMC and I'm going to continue to have them on my heavy rotations.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, all right. You've also did something that I wish I was able to do.
Oh, I went and saw Electric Callboy.
Electric Callboy.
Yep, they were good. It was interesting to see them on a bigger stage. The backstage was this really cool screen, and this robot would come up out of the background, and it would set up it would do the laser show, and then they would cut it, and then they would do that as they would dress into different outfits. Like when they did Techno Train, they had the suspenders and they did the thing, and then when they did the workout video, they came out in the workout gear with the hair and. My wife had one complaint, and is I wasn't as into it as she wanted me to be. She thought I didn't want to be there. I had this really annoying ability where the crowd kind of put me off a little bit. The crowd was kind of pissing me off a little bit because it was just a weird. You look at the concert, everybody's jumping and enjoying themselves, so they were there for Electric Callboy. It was great. It was a sold out show. I wasn't vibing with the crowd. The band was awesome. They brought the energy and
was it like the same experience with me with Wardruna?
Yes and no, but I think the biggest problem is that my wife wanted to sit down, and then she wanted to immediately get back up once the show started. She wanted to get back out there, but she wouldn't get up because she thought that I didn't want to move, and we just didn't communicate very well. So I just sat there and I watched the movie. I was really studying Nico and Kevin and
their performance.
And their performance. I mean, there was even a scene where they did. Every Time We Touch with a piano, and they did like an acoustic version. The only thing that pissed me off about the entire show is my personal gripe. They did Huracan, but they got the soft part done, and that's all they did. They did not go into the awesome death metal part at the end. But they were doing it because they were giving the other bandmates time to change into something different. But as a show, it was crazy to see them bigger than they were when I saw them at the Neptune when they were in a smaller venue. The only thing that I thought was kind of crazy was they came out and they did a lot of confetti, and they did a lot of they brought these guns out like the Germans always do, and they shot the guns, and Nico actually shot somebody in the face.
Oh no!
And they gave him free T-shirts. They felt really bad. And the guy obviously, hopefully, doesn't a douche and sue him. Unless he got shit in the eye.
Dude, I don't know anybody in like any metal fandom that would be like, oh my god, I got shot in the face.
I didn't know that the name of the new album is a German word. It's Tanzanite or whatever, and it actually means dance envy. So
those guys, man.
But it was a good show. I kind of wished my wife and I had gone down into the concert because we were in the pit for the second band. We missed the first band, and we saw this band called Polaris. Wasn't a huge fan. There's a lot of people there for them. And they were like a metalcore band. They were totally fine. They're from Australia. I don't hate them. I just wasn't into them. And then Ashley wanted to kind of sit down for a little bit, and I'm not blaming her. I just think that kind of took us out of having the fun. I wasn't going to sit in a chair and listen to like hypa and try to.
Yeah,
she tried really hard to get excited about sitting down, and I think she wanted to get up and she wanted to go, but we did not communicate very well.
Yeah.
And I wish that I could take that back for her and we could have gone into the crowd and just jumped around and had a good time. But Electric Callboy, awesome show. Guys are great. They said a million times during the show how they cannot believe that they're touring America and they're selling out all the shows, and how appreciative are the fans. They said it multiple times in the show that, like, they remember when they very first started and they were playing for 20 people. Half of them were the crew setting up, and the other half was friends that showed up. and then they played for 3 people, and it was like they get booed.
Dude, they're just so good at their craft. I mean,
they just have fun.
That's the biggest thing.
And they're talented musicians, and they found their niche. And I think a lot of people are afraid to get stuck, or get afraid to get stuck in a genre. And it's like, dude, embrace what you're good at. Look at Ghost. Like, yes, this Ghost albums change every album a little bit. Like, they got away from the psychedelic rock from the beginning, and they got kind of like this poppier. I don't even want to say it, like almost like Genesis, Rush. It's kind of, they're not like Rush in the complexity.
They really play with their music,
but they're in their own wheelhouse.
Yeah,
but they're changing. And Electric Callboy is doing the same thing. They're still that fun party rock, but they have other songs that aren't so party. Dude, I wish you were there for Ratatata, whatever it was, because Baby Metal wasn't there, but they had a huge screen and they had a video made where when their parts sung, it was the girls doing it. They even did the little dance on the thing. Oh, that's and it was really cool because it was so well.
That's so cool that they played that song, because Baby Metal played that song too.
Yep.
And it I don't want to say it felt bad, because it didn't. It just felt off, because it would have been so much cooler with Electric Callboy.
Well, Electric Callboy came out. What was cool is they came out
with the disco helmets.
They had the helmets in their hand, and they went like this, and they put them on, and then immediately they went into the thing. And then when the girls kicked in, when the main girl sung, you see her and she's singing, and she's doing all the same thing. But then when the other girls, they're doing the little dance and everything, and I was like, wow, I was like, this is cool. And then when they were tying everything together, they had the girls in the background on the big screen. I thought it was really cool. It wasn't live; it was pre-recorded, right. But it felt live.
It wasn't just like the music video.
Yeah, no, it was for that concert.
That's really cool.
And it was.
I mean, those dudes in general are just really fun. Like you've said it multiple times. Like we've talked about this with family members and stuff. Like some of them just aren't into it, and they question like what is it about it, and it's just like they're just fun. All of every song we put on, we're having a good time. Yeah. And there's something about, especially like now, like Baby Metal has really grasped this with their new album. They've really grasped this like whole collective.
Yeah.
We're gonna get the Metal Avengers together and have a good time. You know, and especially with Electric Callboy being like that, they were the most fun. And even Baby Metal, when they were like, I want to make that stuff, and that's how that whole song came to be, is because they were like, we can't write that. Let's go contact those guys. And then they fucking came together and made an awesome, fun song. Yep. And those guys, Nico, they just have that energy of just fun times are going to be had.
Oh, yeah, dude, it was super cool. Yeah, it was
I wish I could have fucking gone, but, damn tickets had to sell out, and they had to be $300 fucking dollars, but I don't know.
That's all right.
I'll see them next time.
Yep.
To go on for me, I mean, like, I've been still listening to the Glitch Mob. I love them. I've only gotten like halfway through the discography. They have this weird thing where they play a lot of remixes. Like they make a lot of remixes of their first album, and then they just keep remixing it and making it new. But we mentioned it on the last episode where like that's like their thing. They love to play with their fucking sounds and love to move it. I love them. They're fucking awesome. That got me back into my old roots, where I started listening to my old my old playlist called Fill My Soul, where I have just a bunch of different songs, all electronic style or even just pop song style that I like, that have that certain emotion of mixture between melancholy and just pure joy,
right? And
it's a real like escalator that I go between, right? All the fucking time.
Yeah, it's fun when you create a playlist that can play with your emotions.
Yeah,
I made a road trip playlist for me and Ashley when we go on long trips. It's like 6 hours long, and she looks at me and she goes, "Nobody in history would put a Chris Stapleton song and then right after it have Behemoth." And I said, "That's the point. Is I want to take you have this like heartfelt country song, and then it goes into this like satanic metal song where you feel uncomfortable all of a sudden, and I gradually like doing that, where it's like you're pulling a Band-Aid. It's fun.
Yeah. It's just a good time, man. Like electronic music is something that I hold so dear, and I feel bad that I don't have a lot of people that do the same thing as me. I'm getting new friends that do that though. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Other than that, like fucking, I've been listening. I think I mentioned it before the podcast. I've been listening to the fucking Flesh God Apocalypse. Those guys are 100% up my alley. Fucking death metal to the straight, fucking fast beats, screaming guys, and it's all about epic. Like the album I listened to is called King, and it's all about that fucking like Napoleon style, like old school fucking pianos mixed with choir, and it's just this bombastic, crazy album that blows your brain when you're listening to it. I just love it. It's so good. If anybody loves metal, I highly recommend Flesh God Apocalypse.
Yeah, I want to check them out.
I love them so much. Now, we're going to get close to the end of the show here, but I have a few things that we wanted to talk about. Now, the main thing is I wanted to talk about the importance of classic thrash, death, and black metal music in the industry. Now, you're more versed in that than I am because I'm still kind of stepping my toes in there a little bit with a bunch of different bands. It's just a struggle for me. I have to get through it, but I'm getting there. I'm liking a lot of new stuff. And I wanted to really just kind of break it down and start talking about it because I feel like having those discussions is really important.
Well, there's just certain songs, there's certain bands that have their style of writing that just, they put you in an emotional state. And especially for me, for metal, it's, being perpetually angry all the time, it helps calm you, actually. It's not so much...
It's a release.
It's not so much that it's, I'm going to go out and I'm going to pick a fight with some random stranger. It's like the thing I love about music and whatever music you choose to listen to, for me, when I listen to like some heavy metal or any kind of metal, a guitar riff can change your whole outlook on the day. And it's nice to go, man, I'm glad there's people out there that feel the same way I do. And it's kind of it's a form of therapy in a lot of ways.
I mean, for me, because I like a lot of like epic stuff, right? And it makes my brain really think about it because I don't want to be just like, oh, I like fantasy epic, kind of shit. For me, what it breaks down to is I love it when metal artists exclusively, when they make something that's angry, but they add stuff to it, like a guitar riff, a drum solo, a singing vocal line that changes it in the song, that makes it...
It sprinkles that magic sauce on it, is what it does.
It makes it go to a positive setting, right? Like we've talked about orbit culture a lot, and the songs that I like a lot the most, which is different from you, is there's songs that have that element to it, where it's you're angry, you're frustrated, you're pissed off at something, but then towards the end they add an element to it that spins you around, and you kind of push through it.
It's kind of like in the shadowing,
which is my favorite song,
when they have that melodic at the very end. That's like
that's the
orchestrated.
triumphant.
That's the orchestrated hope at the end of that song.
Yeah, which really pulls you towards it.
I mean, classic thrash metal is to me working class heavy metal.
Yeah,
you got Metallica, you got Anthrax. I mean, there's a lot of bands in that genre that don't get enough credit. I mean, I love Anthrax; they're like my top.
Well, there's a reason why they're called the Big Four.
Yeah,
Pantera, I think, is just the pure fucking rage.
They weren't. Oh, dude, Pantera was like mid 80s, early 90s big dick energy. Like they walk into a room and you're just like, yeah, that guy is the fuck around and find out crew.
Yeah, exactly.
And for me, it's like there's just certain riffs. Like, so before the podcast, we were kind of going through some music, and a band that you want to check out and I highly recommend is definitely Cannibal Corpse for death metal. They have this absolute brutal, like you've said multiple times, you love Death Clock. Well, Death Clock is just that. It's just them. And they are absolutely punishing. I mean, to the point where you have to take a break. Yeah. Because they are like, they're
just up front.
They're sixth gear. They're going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
They're the guy that's punching somebody's skull in and punching through their skull and into the concrete. That's the kind of guy.
Pantera is the one where they punch a guy and then take a picture of it as their album cover.
Yeah. And
then even like fucking Metallica, like, to me, it's a little like biker metal.
No,
in some ways.
Metallica was I think a working class metal in the retrospect of like, They had everything, dude. Like those guys had everything. Biker metal is not a thing, dude. That's like everything could be biker, man. You can.
True. I mean that's true.
A lot of outlaw. Rock,
I say it as a joking thing.
A lot of outlaw rock is like biker metal. Like anything that's like I don't even know how to say it. Outlaw metals to me is like outlaw rock is like anything with like a country influence to it. It's got like almost like a country sound, but it's got like that heavy riff, that that banging riff. Black metal is just it's the punk rock, in my opinion. It's the punk rock of heavy metal because it's the anti-establishment.
I was just going to say, black metal to me is the anti whatever they're talking about.
They don't like Christianity.
Yeah,
they're into the weeds. They screw you. You're weak. You're stupid. Blah blah. And everything sounds like it was recorded in a garage. Yeah, nothing sounds. And if it's overproduced, black metal guys are like, fuck these guys. They sold out.
Turn the overdrive up.
Yeah, they sold out, man. And it's like. They just had like their $1,500 from the last 60 shows they did, and they finally got a professional recording, and now they sold out. Yeah. And there's a lot of bands that I could recommend for black metal that I think people would enjoy if you're into that.
So we'll go on to the last part for it with death metal, right? But I want to ask the bigger question: is like, what about these things is just the most important in the industry? Because in my mind, right, thrash metal is something that's been around in that era, especially like the 90s, where everybody was kind of feeling
it was thrash metal was 80s.
Was it 80s more?
Thrash metal was definitely 80s because in the 90s you had like Pantera and they were going harder, and Metallica was going softer, and then and then even Anthrax was going through, and they lost their lead singer Joey Belladonna. He had to do something else, and they got somebody else, and they sounded more alternative. So they went through a transitional phase in the 90s, and then Metallica, in their newer albums have come back. They're more of a greatest hits album now. Like I like their new album, but you can definitely hear everything they've ever played in the newest albums. Like they add their whole discography into the newest album.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what I was going to say though is like, we talked about it a little bit before with like rap, right? Like how in those eras it was something, I don't want to say like magical, right? In the terms of
people were hungry.
That's a good way to put it.
People were hungry, and rap wasn't looked at as serious. It was just same thing with the 80s rock metal.
Yeah.
I mean, rock and roll was big. But
even rock and roll is different than metal.
No, I know. But rock and roll was a little more commercially accepted.
Yes.
Whereas like hip hop and heavy metal, like growly heavy metal, they were like, that's for the devil.
That's the devil.
Or if you're rap, that's for hooligans and criminals. It's like, dude, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
Because you don't like it. Like I remember I used to argue with some people in school because I used to have metal, and they go, I can't believe you listen to such devil music or such mean music. And I'd be like, you listen to the lyrics? Well, I can't understand it. Well, here's the lyric sheet. Well, that's not what it sounds like. I go, what it sounds like and what it actually is saying are two different things.
I mean, I've stated it multiple times. It's literally another language. I mean, it's altering the vocal cords enough to make it so that it sounds completely different. Because the reason why I say that is because, I'm not the fucking best singer ever in the world, but having the experience and doing it myself, I can hear the words,
I always tell everybody that if you're getting into metal, to look at the lyrics. Because once you read the lyrics with the song, you'll never unhear what they're saying.
True.
You'll hear the growl making the noise. You'll hear the this, my soul is torn out, whatever the person's saying.
Right.
You'll hear it because your brain only hears
every new metal song ever is burn the world down.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
They want to restart. But yeah, I think that's an important part. I think, I don't know.
So would you say the reason why these things are so important into the industry is because at the time it was the shift into being more open?
Metal and original hip hop, like when it was renegade hip hop, was anti-establishment and against the grain. It wasn't what was popular, and they were writing as true of music as they could, and that's what stays. You can go back and
keep listening to it.
You can listen to it, and it's never changed its meaning because it's what it is. And then when it becomes more commercialized, only the stupid listen to it. I hate to say it if it offends you if you like some of the newer popular shit, but it really only makes you stupid when you think about they're talking about shit that's just geared to get you to buy more shit or to wish you had 15 different shoes or whatever. It's like you have an artist out of that pool of that's overpopulated, and you get like 6 artists that are like, holy fuck, these guys are saying some real shit. So
I do always think it's interesting how bands react to other bands. But
yep.
All right, well, we can continue this conversation on the next episode.
Anytime.
And we sure as shit will. And we'll go to the last segment here of the podcast where we're going to talk about our video game suggestions, movie suggestions, and music suggestions. Yep. So I'll go ahead and go first for this one.
Yeah.
I didn't get to talk about it, but we'll talk about it more. Video game I recommend if you get a buddy together or if you want to play it by yourself, Darksiders Genesis. Now, I want to talk about Darksiders at a later point, but I think Darksiders Genesis...
We should go through the whole discography.
...is a fantastic game to play, especially with the buddy because... co-op, online or couch, you can fucking just run around and do your, you don't have to be with your partner, but it really incentivizes you to be with your partner, and there's a lot of cool co-op segments with it that make it really enjoyable. Recommended game. My movie suggestion is going to be the Prey and the original Predator film, like we talked about in the movie segment, because I think those movies are some of the most fantastic movies that you can watch these days, even if Predator came out in the 80s. And then for music, I'm going to say Wishes by Grant. Now, Grant is a guy that I followed for a little while. He's an independent music artist, and he writes a lot of music that's very uplifting and upbeat, but has a hint of hopeful sadness. Is
That's
what
cool.
I would say.
That's cool.
I just really like Grant, and I think Wishes is his best song overall.
Is that the name of the album or just the song?
Just the song.
Okay.
He doesn't really do albums as much as he does singles.
Okay. I hate that.
I get it. I do get it.
I like albums.
But he's the thing is it's with like what's known as Monster Cat, which is about independent electronic artists, and he did a lot of music that went into Rocket League, which is where I found him from most of the time. Well, what do you got, Bill?
I've been playing the Call of Cthulhu, really cool third person survival horror. And you can go into first person if you want.
Fantastic game.
It's a good game. I'm having a lot of fun with that game. I recommend that to anybody who missed out. Movie suggestion, a movie that came out in 2025. It's called Companion. It's about an android who becomes self-aware. I know I got into that last time, but I think...
at least it's consistency.
But I think Companion is a far more fun movie and a lot better of a film. It's kind of a horror / sci-fi film. I think people would really enjoy it. And then my music suggestion is I got to go old school hip hop. I'm going to do Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique. It was the one album that was supposed to be their magnum opus, and it ended up bombing. But if you listen to it over time, it's a fucking cool album.
I'm surprised you didn't say the DMX or whatever, or DMC or whatever.
Or DMC? No.
No. I mean, hey, that's a good selection.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to judge it at all. But
yeah.
Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode of the Speakeasy Podcast.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. So
peace.
Yeah.